We have a crisis going on because the woman that deleted 29,000 election records off the Mesa County server and the big cover-up as far as how they are switching the votes is running for Colorado Attorney General, which, she's a criminal. And she's gone on MSNBC lately to talk about how I breached the computers, which is a lie, and everyone knows it's a lie, and that was not charges that I was charged with. And she's just a liar, and she is one that wants to continue stealing the votes from both Democrats and Republicans in the state of Colorado and continuing the selection process. So obviously, because that's where a lot of this is happening as well, not just the voting machines, as you know, even though that's a big one. But when I was running for Secretary of State, of course, that was my platform, was to wipe out the voter registration database, and then make it so that each person that wanted to vote in the next election would need to go into their clerk and recorder's office, register, show their ID, and register to vote for the next election. And that could even be done every 2 years. But just like you do with your car registration every year, just like you do with, a lot of things. Showing your ID is not discrimination. It's making sure that your vote is counted and not watered down by illegal votes going into the system. So, and then, of course, the Attorney General has come after me hot and heavy under the direction of Biden's U.S. AG, Attorney General Merrick Garland, and that whole regime is running for governor. And we cannot allow that to happen in this state. Someone that has been installed, both of these people have their connections to Obama, of course. A.G. Weiser was put in by Obama. Jenna Griswold was the election attorney for Obama in the White House in D.C. And so most of you know all this, but Colorado being the headquarters of Dominion, and if you don't know the background of how Dominion was started, please go to my website, tinapeters.us, and listen to the 17-minute video of Gary Burnson on there talking about, he was a 31-year CIA whistleblower about the origins of these voting machines. It's very informative. Pass it on to your friends. Have people watch Selection Code. There will be in the works another movie and probably a book coming out. There's so many things I wish I could tell you right now that are going on, but these calls are recorded and and so it's not secure. But keep praying for me. Keep reaching out to our great president. Keep, I even heard that my story's on TikTok, which I'm very grateful and very humbled at that. But the word is getting out. I'm endeavoring to make the best of it. It is better in prison, if you can believe it, than it was in jail. And the targeting that happened to me there. But it is still prison. So miss everyone. Your freedom is very important. Protect it with everything you've got. And our vote definitely is the foundation of this country. And we have to clean it up so that people are not selected that do not have our country's best interest in mind. Thank you so much, Steve, and everyone out there. I love you guys so much and appreciate all you're doing to get the word out and to get me out of here. Thank you. God bless.
That is Tina Peters. You saw the video right there from her. And the phone number that you saw at the bottom of that screen, we're going to flash that number again. It is so critical. And Steve's got the number right there on the screen. Let me make sure that you guys can see him. And I'm going to read it out. Hold it right there, Steve, for a second, please. Spotlight. There we go. You can see Steve's got it. Governor Jared Polis, that's the number. Please take a picture of that. It is incumbent on us to make that call. It is just absolutely unacceptable that this woman is in prison. And you, my friends, are our only way out. It's not going to be Trump. You have got to apply the pressure on the governor. So please do that. You did that on the last call, continue to do it. And because of that, it got bubbled up to Trump's agenda, and he started pushing out the instructions to his team to bring assistance. Again, if you are listening on the phone, 303-866-2471. That's the phone number for Governor Jared Polis. Call him and please request him to pardon Tina Peters. So thank you for that. Steve, I think we're going to go to our next speaker here.
Yeah, Marcy Hoshika.
Great, Marcy. Go ahead, Marcy, you're up.
Hey, Steve.
We can hear you and we can see you. Go ahead.
Well, I got to see Tina a couple weeks ago. Let me just tell you the Tina Peters that she's too humble to talk to you about. Tina, she's been moved around from county to county. Then she was in Denver. They call it D-Dub, Denver Women's Correctional. She was there a week. Now she's in La Vista. And every place that Tina has gone, Tina has made relationships. Tina has prayed with the women. She's prayed with the corrections officers. She's brought women to the Lord. She's led Bible studies. And now she's in La Vista in Pueblo. And not the primo prison that we had anticipated it would be. It's very old, but it is for very minimal offenders like Tina. But Tina is in there still. It has been rough. I will not lie about that. She was put on kitchen duty for a week, and she had fallen off her top bunk in Denver Women's Facility and injured her back and her shoulder. And then they put her on kitchen duty for standing from 10 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. for kitchen duty. She got off of that finally because she was in so much pain. And now she is waiting for her next assignment, but she is befriending the corrections officers there. She has one corrections officer whose little boy is 4 and he has leukemia. And Tina's first thing was, get the word out, let's pray for her. So prison is awful. Tina is ready to be out. She's encouraged when President Trump, what he had said last week, she's waiting for the DOJ to come in. But until then, Tina is making the most of her time, leading women to the Lord, encouraging them, loving on them, and the corrections officers also.
Well, thank you very much. And I know you're her best friend. You're taking care of a lot of her personal things. So we're going to put up a little thing here for Tina where you can send a card or a letter to. And we're not sure they're getting there, but eventually they will. So if you could put that up before we get our next guest on. So everybody can see, go to Tina Peters, right? Tina Peters, 203-512-1401 W. 17th Street, Pueblo, Colorado, 81003. So we'll put this up. We will also send you information on this each time. And our next guest is Mark Cook. Raj, can you see if you can find him? He is going to do a little town hall with people.
Yes, Mark Cook is ready to go. Mark, go ahead and unmute if you would, and go ahead and start, and then we'll bring the other party on in a few moments when you tell me to. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks everyone. Great to be here, and I'm so glad we have a day here to devote for Tina on this. Tina absolutely is at the heart of this entire thing. The entire reason why these people are persecuting her is to scare every other election official, every other clerk in the country to never dare question this system or look into the system, because frankly, they've created an election illusion system, and they've spent decades putting this entire thing together. It is built to make elections believable, and as long as elections are believable, the citizens will allow this system to stay in place. And if certain people know how to manipulate different aspects to influence the results of our election system, then they can gain or maintain their power over all of us. And that's the big secret. That's the big lie. It's the big illusion. And that's what they don't want anyone to dare look at. And so Tina was kind of an example of one of the people standing up saying, hey, here's how they're doing the magic trick. She was showing people the mirrors behind the scene and the full force of the election industrial complex organized against her to stop her from being able to do that. Tina Peters was the clerk in Mesa County, Colorado. And she saw something very strange happen in the elections. And her citizens also contacted her as the clerk to look into these elections. It just it seemed like the results didn't match what they expected them to be. And so when she started looking into it, you'd think that the state would jump on board and help investigate the system to make sure that every single cast vote was cast by an eligible voter and that was tabulated correctly. But instead of the state jumping alongside Tina and working arm in arm to investigate, to ensure the integrity of the election, what they did was attacked Tina, persecuted Tina, and now have put Tina in prison. And this could be any clerk. This could be anyone. This could be any mom, any grandma out there. This is real. This is very real. We are living it. The citizens of Colorado are living in a state taken over by an election system that is manipulatable, and the criminals that have been manipulating it are the ones doing this to her. It's absolutely disgusting. So I wanted to take this opportunity to bring some of the Mesa County citizens in here so they could tell you with their own words what they're experiencing. These are citizens in the very county. These are citizens that knew Tina before all of this. And I want you to hear from them. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up to Carol of Mesa County. Go ahead, Carol.
And Carol, if you could, I don't know if you're on a phone or a webcam, you are looking sideways to
I
us.
know.
Can you flip it around? Can you flip your camera around? You look sideways at the moment.
Okay, let's see here.
Are you on a
So-
phone or a
I'll go
laptop?
with this. I can't, here, let's do this.
Okay, that's good. The other way, the
Oh,
other way,
is that working?
the other way,
The other way.
Okay,
the other way. Just turn it the other way.
yeah, but then, oh, darn it, too. Hold on,
There you
All
go.
right. There you go.
Brilliant. Well done.
it's,
You're good. We lost her.
because
Uh,
there's words in there, but anyways,
Well, one other thing, Carol, I need you to do is you've got the blur filter on. So if you click on your video
was-
icon and
is
turn
my
off
mic-
the blur filter, you got a camera icon there on the lower left of your
Can you
side.
yeah,
Turn off the blur filter so we can see the people in your town hall. So now, Carol, if you look at the bottom left corner of your screen, do you see the mic icon, the microphone icon? Do you see that, Carol?
yeah, let's see, blur my.
Okay, I'll walk you through it, Carol. Next to that, do you see the video icon? There you go. Well done. Well done. Perfect. Go ahead, Carol, you're up. Go ahead. Nicely done.
Okay.
Think she
We're here
froze.
on behalf of
Yeah.
whistleblower Tina Peters. And of course, in Grand Junction, there's a lot of division. Even if you use the word voter integrity, either people will just completely freeze up and not talk about it at all. But we still need to stand for the truth. And we really thank Mark Cook for coming here to Grand Junction. We also do a special prayer call for Tina on Thursdays. You can call in at 669-274-9260. But we know what has happened to Tina is so unjust. And we're trying to get the Bobby Gross to work with us on paper ballots. So we may have some help through her. But we thank you for bringing awareness to Tina's cause. We all deeply care for her. We've been doing a prayer meeting for her for about 15 months. And so we look forward to you guys calling in on Thursdays at 12 o'clock. It'd be great. So I'm going to Mountain Time. So I'll have Doug Bryant will come and speak next. And so I'll switch chairs. So thank you.
Okay, my name is Doug Bryan. I'd like to speak a little bit about the trial itself. Tina did not receive a real trial. The definition of a trial is you have the prosecution presents its set of facts, and then the defense will present their facts. The whole trial was planned, fabricated in order so that Tina could never give the reason to the jury why she did what she did. The judge established lanes that Tina's lawyers had to follow in if execution sustained by the judge. They couldn't have done this to depriving Tina of he had this all planned out. And what he didn't know, he sent out an email requesting other DAs to give him suggestions of what they can charge her with, because she had committed no crime. So they had to make it up, and they had to make sure that people like Mark Cook, that Clay Parikh and Dallas Schroeder, the clerk from another county, that they took his copies away from him. They had to hide the evidence. They destroyed the Mesa County election equipment. Who destroys evidence? It's a criminal. It's not the, and so they were the ones destroying the evidence. All Tina did was take an image and show how much they were cheating. So it's basically, you got to look at this trial, and you look at, in particular, look at that Judge Barrett, how he acts when he is sentencing Tina to what amounts to a death sentence. Look at the pure delight in his eyes. That is sick. And he should not be in any position to pass judgment on anybody. He needs to be fired immediately. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And while the next speaker is coming, a lot of people are asking Carol for the phone number and your prayer call info. So if you could have that available for people, they're asking for that again, please, Carol.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's 669-274-9260.
And what time is it, Carol? Okay, the
Mountain
connection,
Time.
Mountain Time. Got it. Got it.
All right. And then we're going to have Tim Fenwick speak next.
It's crazy here. My name is Tim.
Tim, I'm going to cut the video.
I've known
and
Tina for
I'm going to
about
cut the
8.
video. Keep talking. You won't see yourself. I'm going to cut the video. That way we can hear you better. So keep going. Even though you can't see yourself, we can still hear you. Go ahead, Tim.
I'll try to speak up a little bit. I've known Tina for about 8 years, and she is an extremely honest person. When she says something, she means it. She has never done anything wrong. She's never had a parking ticket. She's never been in jail. She's never had any confrontation with the law whatsoever. It's been just a mess. She was illegally removed from her position as clerk and recorder. The only people that should have been able to remove her is with a recall of the citizens of Mesa County, not by the Secretary of State, not by the governor, not by anybody else. She was removed illegally. This was a setup, just like January 6th defendants that were in jail for years back in DC for just out of jail. She needs to be free. Let's free Tina. Call into the governor and complain. Damn it, get it done.
Okay. And then next we'll have Chris Hoach will come and speak. Hold on.
It is, I wish that. The other way that the court is on the other side.
Go on. There's no way I can do it.
That's the way it goes.
Have a seat. This is Chris Hoach.
Hi, my name is Chris Hosch. I live in a community called Glade Park, which is up by the Colorado National Monument. It's about 30 minutes from Grand Junction. I got involved with this in 2021 also. Didn't know Tina Peters before that, except that I saw that she was running for clerk and recorder. And then all of this started happening. In fact, I was there the night that she was leaving on the plane to go to North Dakota to the Lindell Symposium, and things have happened since then. I think it was clear to me that after the 2020 election, in fact, the morning of the after the 2020 election, I went, this is scary and I don't like it. And we're going to lose ourselves. We're going to lose this country. And that's kind of how I got involved in all of this. And one thing led to another. And then in the 2021 election, the city council election, is where Tina came in and said something is definitely wrong here and started investigating. From there, it's all history. And I think the people in this room, and many more of us, there are just a few of us in this room, but we've come to know Tina personally, all of us. And this woman is just the most honest, straightforward, strong-willed, determined person that I think I've ever met. And it just makes me angry to see what has happened to her, to see what they have done. We were all there. Everybody that's in this room was in that courtroom the day that the judge did his vile, vindictive sentencing of her. And if you haven't heard it, I would encourage you to hear it, because it's going to make you really, really angry, and it makes us cry. Because, like I said, we've all met her. She knows us, we know her. And all I can say is that we are all praying, because that's what we feel we can do best. Besides calling in, if you feel that you can and that that's the right thing to do. I truly, truly believe that Tina will get out of prison, and we all pray sooner than later, but that this will happen. I'm praying that it would be with her being released on bond pending appeal. I want her exonerated. I'm not even, of course, if she, if the governor would pardon her, that's great, but I want her totally exonerated from this. I think we all do, because we know her and we love her. And I had some other things to say too, but I can't think of what they are right now. There's so much, and it is very emotional for all of us here. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming on.
All right. Now we'll have Greg Kuhn will come and speak.
Thanks for the opportunity to visit with those that are on this broadcast, and I appreciate Mark Cook. I have a better face for radio, but that's your choice. So I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. And the reason I am is Tina was an elected official. And the issue there was, for me, if you're elected official, and yes, there was charges brought up against her for what she did, the steps she took to find out the discrepancy in the elections and so on with the machines. But what gets me is until she had her due process in court, we as citizens voted her in. And I feel, and I still feel that we should have had the right to then basically do a recount. So this, her being taken away from her position was unlawful, in my opinion. What she did was right. What bothers me is she discovered discrepancies in the tabulations, and she asked for help in numerous areas. She got none. Basically our own GOP here in Mesa County have turned their backs on Tina,
That's right.
which I think is uncalled for. And it's something that I'm not going to forget. And the others that stand for Tina are not going to forget either. We can forgive, but I'm not going to forget. There's two people that I really have an axe to grind with, and that's one is an ex-county commissioner. The other one is a current county commissioner. During the court proceedings at the end, they got up and gave testimony in regards to Tina, as far as the prosecution, on what it cost our county and what issues it caused our county to go through in order to prosecute Tina. So the first is Cody Davis. He's a county commissioner currently. And the other one is Scott McGinnis. I don't want to forget Scott, for sure. The way he basically disrespected, lambasted, just went after Tina in regards to in the court was uncalled for. He basically undressed her in front of everybody, and he became angry about it, which I felt was uncalled for. The thing that bothers me is there was 3 reports done by Jeff O'Donnell. And if you don't know about that, you can catch up on that. But I guess he's come out with a 4th report. What it bothers me is they say they've read these reports. And if they did read these reports, then I do feel we would have a different outcome from where we're at today.
Let me chime in real quick on that.
Sure.
The first 2 reports were actually, the work was done by myself, reports 1 and 2, and myself and Doug Gould wrote those reports. Report 3 was Jeff O'Donnell and Walter Doherty. And then there is a 4th report that Jeff O'Donnell came out with. I just want to clarify that. And
That's
those
fine.
reports, if anyone wants to know where they are, they're on handcountroadshow.org. Then go to Get Educated, and then Colorado, Mesa County reports. You can get to all of them. Go ahead.
Okay. And thank you for that clarification. Believe me, I don't want to, cross the line on anything.
I just want to make sure people know if they
No.
got questions about them, who to go to
I
about it.
understand.
So we're good.
I understand. And again, my feeling is Tina didn't have due process. I've looked up a few things. The state must provide a hearing before an impartial judicial officer. That wasn't done. Judge Barrett wasn't impartial. She did have a right to attorney's help. She, had the right to present evidence and present that evidence through oral presentation. And then the chance to examine all materials that would be relied on, or she would able to have to confront during cross-examination with adverse witnesses. What's sad to me during these court proceedings is she was not given the opportunity to show any type of evidence on why she did what she did. And that really bothers me too. The process was not good. And the other thing is, I just felt the court was biased from the beginning. And again, we have our attorney Rubenstein, and the state attorneys that didn't give her a due process, as far as I'm concerned. I also, and this is my last point, and I'm just going to cover these 10 points, and you can, just answer these for yourself if she actually had due process. An unbiased tribunal, which was not. Notice of proposed action and the grounds asserted for it. Number 3, opportunity to present reasons why the processed action should not be taken, and she wasn't able to give that. The right to know opposing evidence, the right to cross-examine adverse witnesses, a decision based on exclusively on the evidence presented. She wasn't able to give any of her evidence, which bothers me a lot, and so do others. Opportunity to be presented by counsel. She was, which was good. But once again, she didn't have all these points, and the due process was not there. Requirement that the tribunal prepare a record of the evidence presented. Yes, that was done, but she wasn't able to give her evidence once again. And the requirement that the tribunal prepare written findings of fact and reasonings for its decision. I'm sure that was given to her lawyers, or both sides, but I don't think that basically she was given that process to once again give her side of the story on why she did this, the discrepancies that she saw, and why she took the action she did. She didn't get any help, but she was actually elected to do her job, and I feel she did it well. And that's why we need to stand behind her. We need to get this over with. And the people in Mesa County, our state, and our nation can't let this go. So I just want to thank you for your time.
Very well said.
So that's who we have present to speak right now. So thank you for listening to us.
Okay,
If you
sounds
can,
good. So
if you can give that prayer info again,
Oh, yeah.
time, call.
Definitely. It's 669-274-9260. You can call in by noon on Thursdays Mountain Time. And then we actually start praying at 12:10.
And can you ask the people that start to call the governor's office, the more people we call that, call the governor's office, the more he realizes how many people in this country care.
Yes, definitely.
yeah, and the
Again,
people just aren't going to put up with this anymore. I'm done. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a lot of other people that are done. The trajectory of all this is it's unsustainable as a nation. So yeah, there it is right there. Frankly, I don't know what good that's going to do. I'm not saying don't do it, but I think Polis actually loves the fact that he has taken part in keeping Tina in prison. I think these sick demons actually take a lot of joy in that. I did want to make a couple comments. One, Cody Davis. I went up and talked to Cody a couple weeks ago in person in his office. And Cody Davis himself, when I asked him what he thought about the sentencing that Tina received and where Tina is, he looked at me and told me he thought that the sentencing was far too long. So for him to say that, I'd like him to say that to far more than just me. I'd like him to say that to everyone in Mesa County and everyone in this country as well. So Cody, if you're watching this, or if anyone watching this knows Cody, Cody, we all have one life, man. We have to, we have to answer to someone at the end of this. I don't know how you can sleep at night knowing that you took part in imprisoning an innocent woman that's 69 years old, almost 70, that's a Gold Star mother, for you to take part in doing this to her, and also taking part in scaring every other election official and clerk in this entire country. That's got to be a massive weight to bear. And I can't imagine anyone having to go through their life with that weight on their shoulders. So I encourage you to take a look in the mirror and do what you know is right in addressing that. The other thing I want to say is about this library. You see in the background, an art piece depicting Trump as Hitler is on display right now at Mesa County Public Library. And the
That's
picture
cool.
that's on display on the wall is just to the right of me, where it's on a picture of him on the background of a document talking about Hitler and his Nazi party. And was put on there, the title down below on the wall is Maggie. American Hitler is what Maggie called this thing. And the Mesa County Public Library, which the citizens of Mesa County probably fund, has this on display and refuses to take it down. They claim that it's got to be on there all the way until Thursday. It's been on there. How many months, Carol? How long has this thing been there in
I think
display at Mesa County?
Has it been about 5-6 weeks? Yeah. About 5 or 6.
5 or
weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
And the citizens have been calling the library, asking, demanding for it to be taken down. And the
Right.
people that run this library refuse to do that. They somehow think that this is acceptable. But this is the type of vitriol and demonization that these people perpetrate on the rest of our good society. These people don't give a crap about any of us who they think are peasants, the gum on the bottom of their shoe. And they've designed this election illusion system in order to take over not only your county and your state, but your country. So citizens, it has to be over now. This is our window. This is our God-given window to be done with these systems of control. This country belongs to every single one of us. It does not belong to them. The corporations, the government, they do not get to run our elections. Our elections belong to us, we the people, and we use our elections to measure our will to determine who we want to put in charge of serving us. These people should be serving us, and they seem to have forgotten that. So I hope we get a little wake-up call for everyone, and we fix our country, and everyone realizes that truly our government is elected by the people to serve on and for behalf of the people, period. So that's all I had. Unless anyone's got any questions
Thank you
for
very
me,
much.
I'd love to.
That's it.
bring it up.
Mark, I'm going to take a couple of minutes of your time to read what President Trump came out on Truth Social for Tina. Do you mind if I do that?
No,
Okay.
please do. And in the meantime, I'll look up the phone number for the library. So if anyone else in the country would like to communicate with the library to maybe request nicely that they take this disgusting picture off their wall, maybe they will.
Thank you. Okay, so Truth Social last week, radical left Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser ignores illegal committing violent crimes like rape and murder in his state and instead jailed Tina Peters, a 69-year-old Gold Star mother who worked to expose and document Democratic fraud. Tina is an innocent political prisoner being horribly and unjustly punished in the form of cruel and unjust punishment. This is a communist persecution by the radical left Democrats to cover up the elections, crimes, and misdemeanors, misdeeds in 2020. The same Democratic Party that flies to El Salvador to try to free MS-13 terrorists is cruelly imprisoning, perhaps for life, a grandmother whose brave and heroic son gave his life for American Colorado. Must end this unjust incarceration of innocent America. I am hereby directing the Department of Justice to take all necessary action to help secure the release of this hostage being held in Colorado prison by the Democrats for political reasons. Free Tina Peter now. So I think a lot of people have helped. I was also with Peter Tickton, who's an attorney who's filed a habeas corpus for Tina. It was rejected because there was two things on it rather than one, so he's redoing it. He will come on our next election security Flag Day event on June 14th. We're taking almost a month to prepare for this because we're going to have about 6 hours of this program. And there will be a lot of people talking about not only Tina, but everything that's happening over the last month to try to free her. And hopefully by the time we get on, and then it'll happen. So I want to bring on our next guest, who is a big patriot, Marley Hornick, United Sovereign America, working round the clock to free America.
And right before Marley comes on, again, make sure you that announcement that Steve Stern just read to you, that came a few days after the campaign was launched, asking people to call Governor Jared Polis. So here it is again on the screen. Please make sure you make the call. Please make sure you make the call while you're on this Zoom meeting. I just want to thank people that have already done so. Please put the announcement here when you do that. Glenn, thank you for that as well. Thanks for making that call. I'm just leaving here. Sheila, thank you for making the call and leaving that message. It takes action, so please make the call, number one. And as soon as you made the call 5 other people. Call 5 other people. Don't text them. Don't social media post it. Call 5 other people and please persuade them to make that call as well. And now, thank you for that. We'll go back to Marley Hornick. Marley, you're up.
Great. Thank you so much, Raj and Steve. And I really want to thank both of you. I want to thank Mark and everybody in Colorado for just pouring your hearts out to us all today and for the work that you're doing to make sure that this egregious wrong is rectified. And I want to say that United Sovereign Americans stands 100% of the way in terms of rectifying these problems. And if people are not familiar with how we're doing that, I can just perhaps clarify a little bit what separates United Sovereign Americans from election integrity organizations, because a lot of people, unfortunately, confound us with an election integrity organization. But what we do is election validity, which has to do not with whether or not elections are doing the right thing while we're not looking. It doesn't have to do with making sure that the regulations for voter roll maintenance are in NIVRA are followed correctly. It has to do with taking a look at something very simple that has always been the issue with elections since Rome, which is, are the voters, the votes, and the counts authentic and legitimate? And can the election officials who work for us prove it? And if that's not the case, then basically we're working with a broken system, because if you look at our United States Constitution, the first sentence of law, Article 1, Section 1, says it is Congress that has the power to make law. And the second sentence, Article 1, Section 2, says it is the people of the several states who choose those congressmen and women, and the states determine who is an eligible voter. So if you think about that, there's like basically a handshake before anything else can happen in America that guarantees legitimate representative government. And we know we're not having legitimate representative government because Tina Peters is in jail. It's just that simple. We could talk about 100 other examples of how we know we don't have legitimate representative government. But when an official who is upholding her duty to preserve records under federal law is imprisoned by a conspiracy of individuals who are not running proper and honest elections, we are not operating under our Constitution. We have left the room. So what United Sovereign Americans has done, for example, to further this cause in support of Tina Peters, who we have actively supported and actively worked with, in addition to other efforts that we make all over the country. And that's, you know, myself as CEO, that's Harry Howery as our chairman, and that's our thousands and thousands of trained, educated volunteers who have participated with this. Is that we've run, first of all, we've run analytics on Colorado. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some data that United Sovereign Americans ran on 2024 in Colorado, because you may not have seen this before. Let's see, share. And I'm going to talk about what this means, because a lot of people show numbers and it may or may not be clear why these numbers are different. So what United Sovereign Americans measures is probable fraud as it is defined by the United States Department of Justice and our civil rights laws. So at the top here, you'll see Colorado's 2024 general election validity scorecard, right? We know the election didn't have integrity because elections can't have integrity. People have integrity. We want to know, were the voters, the votes, and the counts valid and authentic, and did the state prove it to us? So here the question we ask is, were the voter rolls accurate, which is a requirement of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993? Again, we're not saying were the lists maintained according to NIVRA. We're saying if NIVRA says the rolls have to be accurate and current, were they? Simple. And the answer is no. And now the next line you'll see here with this light blue, registrations with material errors and omissions as per the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This has nothing to do with whether or not a registrant moved, died, or committed a felony, and whether or not the registrars have updated that record in a timely fashion. The United States Congress decided in 1964, and then it was updated again in 1965. First, it was called the Civil Rights Act. Now it's called the Voting Rights Act. They said, if a voter has a non-material error or omission associated with their record, you cannot deny them the vote. The opposite of that is if they do have a material error or omission, which is a problem with the registration record that directly calls their eligibility into legal question under appropriate applicable state law, then you cannot give that person an equal right to vote until the error is resolved. Why? Because the Department of Justice at the United States federal government level defines election fraud as corruption of the registration process. Everybody knows that people try to register fake people, give them ballots or assign ballots in their name and get them counted. That's because when an election is over, people get authorized to sit in positions and dig their hands into your bank account as deep as they are allowed to go based on who's around them and what everybody agrees to. They take that cash out of your bank account and they spend it on supposedly what they're supposed to spend it on. But I think everybody realizes by now they spend it on whatever the heck they want. And a lot of the things that they spend it on are things that the American people do not support. And we can always just roll out that example of, like transgender, education in Ireland. What does that have to do with the will of the people and legitimate representative government? It's another one of those examples that tells you something here is really broken. So here in Colorado, when we looked at these issues from the perspective of criminal law, we found a lot of violations in 2024 existed in the voter registration list at the time the election was certified. 1.3 million existed. You'll see this category is really big. 628,000 people voted in that election before they were voted in a election before they were registered to vote. Sure, an election official might be able to go into their records and prove that 34,000 of those are legitimate. But what about the other 580,000 or 520,000? They have to prove every single one of them because this database is critical infrastructure. It is a digital border of the United States, and we have to protect it that way. So if they can't explain all 628,000 as a matter of law, then we have to find out what happened. It doesn't mean that the election official is a criminal. It means that something is not working properly at our digital border, securing our appropriation of funds through congressmen and women that sit in DC and ostensibly represent us. We have to figure out what the heck happened, right? So that's category A. Category B, in 2024, 51,903 votes were counted from these individuals who have material errors and omissions in their registration records. As you can see, 44,000 of them voted before they were registered to vote. Okay, how? How did that happen? Is it because they showed up on the day of and the registrars didn't get it fixed until 2 weeks later? But how come the election was certified and then the records later get updated? That's not a legitimate process. You can't prove the certification using the records that are supposed to substantiate the claims. Okay, number 3, Was the number of votes counted equal to the number of voters who voted? No, there were 34,000 more voters who voted than votes counted, according to the state's official records. So we're asking, why did that happen? Can you explain it to us? Because if you can't, we have a problem. Why do we have a problem? That's category 4. Because the United States Congress said you can only have this many election errors in the tabulation of votes before we have to consider the fact that there has been fraud that took place. Doesn't mean that fraud did take place, but the predicate is that the election is now guilty until proven innocent. Elections do not get due process. Elections have to be self-proving. Okay, so this is how USA measures these issues. Now, what has USA done in order to try to help Tina Peters directly? Well, one of the things we did in 2024 was we filed a lawsuit regarding the issues we had uncovered in the 2022 midterm, similar to what is there. That lawsuit is still making its way through the courts in Colorado. What does that have to do with helping Tina Peters? Well, one of the issues that was well identified by Mark and all of those amazing patriots from Colorado who were just speaking about their knowledge of the case, their knowledge of the outcome in the court, and their knowledge of the process, the unfair, the undue process that Tina was subjected to, is that a lot of the people who are involved in that are involved in elections also. So if the law is not being followed in election process, and it can be proven, not deep in the machines, that it's this program or this document wasn't produced and it was supposed to be produced, and that calls the results into question, but just to say, hey, it looks like Colorado didn't know who 51,000 of their voters who voted and had their votes counted, doesn't really know who they are. That's a major problem for the Congress, the United States Congress, because that's called dilution of the vote, right? It's just kind of obvious. So when we're taking these arguments into court and our teams, our volunteer teams are taking them into county commissioner meetings and town board meetings all over Colorado, which USA Volunteers did relentlessly in 2024 and will be doing again very shortly, we're making an argument that the election officials may actually have a role to play here. And now those who are refusing to investigate what's going on in the elections, they have a role to play. And all of a sudden, hey, aren't those the ones that are going after Tina for following the law? Aren't those the people who have created this conspiracy to jail someone who is trying to do the right thing and create the provable record? And meanwhile, they're not responding in court to the fact that the provable record demonstrates problems, like massive ones. So these are the issues that USA is working on. Now, again, we are not an election integrity organization. If you volunteer for USA or support our litigation and our lobbying advocacy efforts through your donations, you're not supporting an organization that is working to clean the voter rolls. What we have discovered and our credentials uphold is that the voting systems have been breached. They've been breached through all the way from registration, all the way through certification and beyond, because we have measured edits to certified federal elections post certification, and they are in the millions, right? So you can't say, oh, well, this is happening because of mail-in voting. Well, how are mail-in voters committing mail-in vote fraud, editing the certified election after it's certified? They're not. It's not signature verification. Sure, these are all issues. They all need to be addressed, but signature verification is not how elections get edited post facto. It's not about throwing ballots in dumpsters. That's happening, and that's wrong also, right? I know the state I'm from, New York, there's a ballot security envelope that shows your party affiliation on the outside. So guess what? You come from a Republican district, it's really easy to dump a whole batch of those ballots, or a Democrat, whatever the issue is that's, someone is trying to manipulate. But what we're showing at USA and the arguments that we're making to try to force actually accountability for the people who have jailed Tina is that they have certified members of Congress and they don't know that those people were duly authorized by the citizens, and that is their only job. They are violating the United States Constitution at sentence 3. Our handshake right across the top is broken. Everything down from there is in chaos because we have lost control of securing legitimate representative government, which is the only, the first and foremost, let's say, goal that our founders had in their minds, in their hearts, and in their prayers when they formed this country, was to make sure that the way that God made each one of us to be, we had the opportunity to pursue that. Didn't mean that we had the privilege to pursue it or that we were guaranteed an outcome from it, but we were guaranteed the opportunity and equality under the law to be the best human being that we were created to be. And Tina has been denied that privilege. We all know it. And what USA is doing, again, we're still in litigation in Colorado, and we are determined to focus down on this particular point, which is that it turns out, and it looks like the people that conspired to put her in prison, and as Mark said, intimidate every other election official in the country out of doing their job honorably and in duty to the country, that they have conspired to cover up the fact, at a bare minimum, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They're running at a bare minimum. I don't know if they're criminals. I don't know the answer to that question, but they are running off ideology. And I want to remind everybody that in 1888, the Supreme Court ruled and helped us all, made a beautiful ruling and decision. It said something simple. It said, basically, in the United States of America, the only way that we have legitimate representative government is because we trust election officials to do the right thing. Therefore, if an election official whose personal signature authorizes and certifies that both the federal government and the state government are legitimate Republican governments, duly authorized, then when that person signs that document, if they're lying, that is a crime. It's not like any other kind of fraud that exists. You don't have to prove intent. Literally, the quote from the Supreme Court is, "The evil intent consists in disobedience to the law." That means if they count ballots from people, they don't know who those are, who those individuals are, really. They just take that ballot. It's like you give them your Walmart receipt and they're like, "Oh, this looks good." And they throw it in the pile of ballots, right? That's kind of the chaos we're dealing with, right? And that's where we have our pressure point. That's where every single one of us can contribute to a massive victory. That's the message that every one of our representatives across the country needs to hear. And that is a message that United Sovereign Americans is delivering in town boards, county legislatures, state legislatures, in Congress. We're talking to federal prosecutors. We are talking to the administration. We are talking to county prosecutors. We are talking to attorneys. We are talking to every single kind of person who is going to help us as a team, all of us here, move this needle and win our country back with legitimate representative government. And that's what we're about. That's what we're doing. We invite everybody to come and be a part of this effort. We're going to free Tina. We're not going to get her pardoned. We're going to get the people who conspired on this horrible circumstance where this amazing American patriot is imprisoned wrongfully and unfairly. We are going to get the people who conspired to do that held accountable under our actual laws. And I guarantee we are talking to the people who are going to get that done with us. And I invite everybody to be a part of USA. Thank you for your help. Thanks everybody for all you're doing. Again, thank you, Steve and Raj, for really focusing on Tina and making sure that nobody forgets what's going on here. And thank you, Mark, and everybody who's been in Colorado working on this as well.
Thank you very much, Molly.
You
You're
bet.
great.
Thank you.
Okay, Raj, you want to run that video?
Excellent. Sounds good. And again, please, here is the website that Marley was referring to. There it is. Uniteforfreedom.com. Volunteer button, donate button. Please take the actions. Please take the actions. Now, before we go to our next speaker, this program that you're watching takes a huge amount of work. You only see a fraction of the people right now on the Zoom call. Steve's team has to call podcasters, influencers, arrange logistics with them for every call. It takes a huge amount of work, huge amount of effort. And that's why when you go to sternamerican.com, in fact, I'll just go there. Here we are, sternamerican.com, sternamericannews.com, right here. And then you scroll down, you click on the Rumble channel. There's this unbelievable library of content, here that has been prepared. But all of this, including the stream that is going on right now, this is a live stream taking place right here. You can see 71,000 views on this view, 54,000 views on this stream. There's so many more people watching this on the back end than there are actually on the Zoom call. So the reason I'm sharing that with you is I would love for you to go to theflagshirt.com. Why? I'm glad you asked. Here's why.
What defines the American spirit? Preserving life, liberty, and pursuing happiness. Caring for the nation we call home and its people. As patriots, it's our duty to drive the entrepreneurial spirit, pushing hard, reaching for success, sharing patriotism, because the American way of life is for all to live. The Flag Shirt, where freedom reigns.
So please go to the Flag Shirt, and there are some amazing deals right now. Free shipping taking place, and you can see Steve and I are identical twins. I know you didn't notice that, but I'm pointing it out. We're identical twins. And there are, even better than that, amazing garments for the ladies as well. And so please, guys, make sure you go there and help yourself to these amazing gifts. Father's Day coming up June 15th. Father's Day coming up June 15th. Every dad should be given a Flag Shirt garment. A Flag Shirt garment. And again, ladies, please check out the fantastic apparel, outfits, all of that right here at theflagshirt.com. One other announcement I'm going to make here, and this is a Reclaim campaign. That is what you see on the screen behind me. The Reclaim campaign is really about amplifying our voice. And this atrocity that continues to happen, not just with Tina Peters, but especially Tina Peters, but across the realm with all of the different areas, not just elections, health freedom, Second Amendment, human trafficking, all of these atrocities need to be stopped. One of the reasons these atrocities continue to occur, even though there's so many more of us than there are of them, one of the reasons that they continue to occur is because we are factioned and fractioned. Go to reclaimcampaign.com if you're interested in finding a strategy to bring the camps together to do three things. One, amplify our political clout. Two, become better at raising money for your own races, for your own counties, for your own candidates. And three, the ability to do a better job in finding, sourcing, vetting, and training candidates, not just to have their hearts in the right place, but also have the ability to win elections. They have the skills to persuade. And if they don't, we can connect them to training. There's a program that Steve Stern's organization has sponsored on Electioneering 101. And this is a program to train candidates to become even better than they are right now in winning elections. So a lot of stuff going on there. That is going to get.
1 second, Raj. I just want to tell everybody something. So you played, if you can give me the screen a second, Raj.
Yeah, you're on the screen now, I think. Stand by. Yes, go ahead. You're on screen.
All right. So my birthday is next week. And yesterday I got on TikTok and we put this shirt up. I don't know if you can see that, Raj. I see you on the screen. Maybe you could put this on the screen.
Everyone else sees you. But actually, hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, there you go. Go ahead, Steve.
Back-to-back World War champs. I sold on TikTok 10,000 units. Now, between this and many colors and also a tank top. So the Flag Shirt has many, many things. And we have Memorial Day coming up. And our biggest time is the 4th of July. I want to thank Steve Bannon for putting me on this morning. We sold a lot of shirts this morning. We got a lot of people on. And I also like to say we have a shirt for him, Stand with Bannon. We still have some left on that, Stand with Bannon. You know, he also was in jail for 6 months or 4 months. And he also taught school there and did a lot of praying and stuff like that. That was his vacation because, you know, Steve Bannon never takes a vacation. I can attribute to that. He was off the air a couple of days because he was sick, but I've asked him to take 4 days off and just relax. He will never do that. So thank you very much for everybody who's bought a flag shirt. It just so happens that we got to be twins today. He didn't know I was going to wear this, but this is our original shirt. A lot of people ask me, how did the flag shirt get started? It started in 1934 and it was started by a company called Gilman Knitwear. And I bought them before the 9/11. And they were making this one shirt and my son took it over and we make hundreds of shirts, both made in the USA, made in all countries. And of course, the tariffs are hurting us a little bit. We've held our prices and, you know, we try to stay everything. We try to give you free freight, whatever. So we appreciate everything you're doing. And again, let's get Greg Stenstrom up. He's one of our great people. We're waiting on General Flynn. He's on a conference call. Michael Lindell is on a plane. Not sure if he's going to be able to make it, but we have other people to talk. So Greg, you're our feature today. Go ahead.
Well, it's always humbling. I mean, filling in for General Flynn and filling in for Mike Lindell. That's an honor. And then following Marley Hornick, a great patriot. That's a hard act to follow and a hard shoes to fill. But I'm going to continue the commercial on the shirts. You can see I have my my shirt on here. I wear it so often that a lot of times I don't get to wear it on the show because I wear it pretty frequently. And for people here, you want to see the reaction that people give you when I wear it. Everywhere I go, I get fist bumps and just nothing but smiles. And it's a great shirt, really high quality. I don't know how many times I've washed it here, but it maintains its color. It's thick. It's cotton. It's really one of my favorite shirts. In fact, I'm going to buy another one so I don't get in the show again without one and say thank you. I also want to say thank you to the Patriots here because I don't know how much time I have. If General Flynn jumps in or Mike Lindell just bump me right off, I'm doing a fill-in here. So don't worry about what I have to say today.
But about 8 minutes.
Okay, got a couple of things and it was nice to be able to follow Marley because she's so articulate and educated in the law and the Constitution. And it's always a pleasure to follow her or precede her or be on the same show. What we have here, and I see a lot of the people here, I see them, every couple of weeks. I see the same people. I see Mark Cook. Nod your head, Mark. I see it. So working with Mark and Andy Thompson out in Nevada on a very fascinating case out there. But what we have here is I don't try to prove election fraud anymore. The fact that there's massive election fraud in our country is a matter of public and judicial record. There's no question that we have election fraud. There's not a single machine in the United States that's properly certified by the EAC or any NIST lab. Not a single machine in the United States is properly certified. We have massive evidence of interference on machines. The machines are a huge vulnerability. It's one of the reasons President Trump is looking to do an executive order to just say, hey, we got to go to paper ballots until we get something better. So I don't know if that's the best way to go, but certainly the machines are not working for us. That is a matter of public and judicial record. The fact that they're using mail-in ballots to commit massive election fraud is a matter of public and judicial record. It's a fact. Those facts remain unrefuted in any court case that I'm aware of, and I've been in quite a few of them, been co-defendants with President Trump. Those facts of massive election fraud remain unrefuted. And it's only because I see Mark up here in the corner of my screen. I was talking to Andy Thompson, who's the lead plaintiff in a case in Nevada right now that you should all follow. Is he and a very well-renowned statistician and mathematician, Ed Solomon, who I respect highly, and I follow what his writings and his documents and his his articulation of how they commit election fraud, and at least prove it statistically, is that it's a matter of public and judicial record that they've committed fraud. They had, it is undisputable. And the thing is a matter of law, they haven't disputed it. He's facing the Attorney General of Nevada in his particular case. They haven't refuted the facts. In fact, their biggest concern is basically destroying the evidence and destroying the cast vote records if Andy is successful in getting them, will show that there's massive election fraud. Consistently throughout the country, we've been unable to attain cast vote records because the cast vote records would show the fraud. We've been unable to get mail-in ballots, and we've been unable to get mail-in ballot images across the country, or the envelopes. We've been successful here in Delaware County, but most other people can't. We're currently involved in a case right now, 3 cases, where the Republican Party and the Democrat Party and political operatives and judges, with the collusion of judges, remove hundreds and across the country, thousands of candidates from running for office, capriciously, callously, because they're shaping elections. So given that this is an election call, what I want everyone here to know is that at this point, I think that they not only have conceded, when I say they, our opposition and the enemies of our country have not only conceded, they've admitted that there's massive election fraud, and they like it that way. So one of the things that we have to do is we have to look at this system that allows this. And what we found is our court systems, our justice systems, are not justice systems. We have specific control nodes, which include clerks, specific clerks that run courts, specific judges, not all judges, but we have specific control nodes that have taken over our courts. We don't have a justice system, we have a control system. No. And that control system basically takes a case that Marley submits, I'll submit, Andy Thompson submits, any number of people here are involved in litigation. We submit our cases, we submit our evidence, and it's quashed in a laundry machine in a continuous wash, rinse, and repeat cycle of judicial corruption. So trying to fix the system within the system, we must continue to file litigation. I'm just going to put my website, my platform that myself and another person co-founded, and now quite a few people are involved in. But if you go to www.patriot.online, you'll support that litigation, and you'll support other efforts that we're doing right now to get us out of this wash, rinse, and repeat cycle. And what I want to say is that there's other people here involved in other aspects of the country in corruption and fraud. Part of it is the way our health system works and the efforts of Robert Kennedy to repair that. We're looking at a U.S. Attorney General's office and the Department of Justice that Pam Bondi is struggling to correct. And she's got people and Confederates around her that are preventing her or stopping her from doing that. You got Kash Patel at the FBI, Elon Musk at Doge, Kristi Noem, and the list goes on. Dan Bongino, got people here that are patriots. Steve Bannon served 6 months in jail. What the commonality is in all these cases, you have high trust people who are struggling in a control system that has been designed to thwart our rights. So the only thing we can do going forward is continue to file, continue to expose the fraud, continue to expose, whatever element and whatever lane you're working, you're going down. But I think we're entering an age of artificial intelligence, and we've been using artificial intelligence to great advantage. What we found out is our own government, or people, our enemy elements within the government, have been using AI for decades. Although AI has only entered the common vernacular in the last few years, artificial intelligence has been around for quite a while. And
2 minutes, Greg. 2 minutes, Greg.
They've used it to take our country. So what we've been doing is we've been looking at things now through the lens of artificial intelligence, the same tools that are being used against us. We're looking at them in within the lenses of elections, primarily for me, but we're looking at through the lenses of how they suppress people and isolate, contain, and destroy. So one of the things they want to do and they use against us is Tina Peters, one of the few people in the country that had the courage to do her job, which was to basically audit machines that she was responsible for. You punished her for it. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, President Donald Trump, the greatest whistleblower in history. All of these people have been thwarted and attacked. So the only way we're going to fix this is not inside of the system. We have to build a system, a parallel system, which demonstrates the fraud, which can look from the outside in. So if I have 100 cases that have been found against us, people say, well, litigation is a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. It's the only way we can peacefully change things. But what we need is a system outside of the control networks that can demonstrate the fraud. If I take those 100 cases that were, where they had findings against us, and I put them in an artificial intelligence environment that says, as a strict matter of law, you should have won all those cases. And as a strict matter of law, I can identify the control nodes. I can identify the specific judges and the specific clerks. That, once exposed, will change things. And what I want to encourage people to do is we are developing that system. We are developing that on patriot.online, and we've made quite a bit of headway on it. I encourage you to donate there. And I want to say thank you to everybody here. I think I'm wrapping up here, Steve. Is Michael Flynn here coming on, or
We
Mike
have somebody else. He's coming in later, but we got somebody else that's time.
I want to thank everybody here, and I follow, as many people here, I follow all of your efforts. I really do, as much time as I can spend, and I am so grateful to Steve Stern, to Raj, and to all the people here on Stern America. I can't thank you all enough, and you're all, every single one of you, the contributions you're making, whether it's litigation, whether it's media, I think everybody's right, and we're all shooting litigatively. We're all aiming in the same direction to restore our republic and stop the extraction of wealth. So I want to thank everybody here, Steve. I think hopefully we're rolling in, and thank you very much. I'll hopefully see you on Flag Day, the birthday of my favorite president, Donald Trump. And I think I'm looking forward to having maybe a different shirt this time. So thank you very much, everybody.
Got it. Raj, is Linda up there?
Yes, Linda, go ahead. You're up. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you,
FightVoterFraud.org. Linda Sinkowitz, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite person.
Steve, you are so sweet. I first wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I know your birthday is not till next week, but I wanted to make sure I did that. And to also thank you and Raj for everything you do with this program, because the Tina Peters stuff that you're getting out there, we're seeing it everywhere. The different things that Mark Cook has done to bring it forward with Colorado. Mark, you're doing a great job. Marley, she is one of my heroes. I got to meet her back in March down in Florida, along with Greg Stenstrom. I mean, you guys are doing an incredible job handling the lawsuits, checking into the validity of things. And what our organization does is we do the deep dive to actually prove the people that have potentially violated election laws. Tomorrow, I am hand delivering to New York 167 double voters that we have. We have to say potentially, but we have 100% proof that they actually double voted. And sometimes we are finding people have not only double voted, they've triple voted, quadruple voted. In New York, we saw a trend going on, and the trend happened to be that if you did early voting, you could also do regular voting and your vote counted, which was interesting. In Florida, what we're seeing is the vote history is being modified, changing. It's changing in a number of states. So that's another interesting thing that we are finding. But fight voter fraud, all we want is one vote for one legal voter. We've been working at that now 6 years. And we had developed a program on what you need to bring forward to your law enforcement. Well, we are now setting up a program which we will train you and your organization how to do it. And you would also get one of our books that shows every single state, the information that you would need to have to prove it is that person within your state that may have violated election laws. So if anybody is interested in that, just send an email to info@fightvoterfraud.org. And we'll get you our one-sheeter and we'll show you how we set this whole thing up. We're starting the trainings in June. And another thing that I know we had told people about way back in January and February was the free double voters, the double registered and double voters. Well, the problem we had run across is not all the states had put in all their information from November. Case in point, Connecticut still, as of February, still was missing all the votes. Marley Hornick had made reference to how they certify elections. Here's an example. In Connecticut, we requested the voter rolls on December 30th. They gave them to us from December 18th. We did our analysis and looked at the numbers and compared everything. And they were missing 26% of the votes. But December 17th, Congress had to have the certified numbers. They needed to be sent by the 11th, and Congress had to have them by the 17th. As Marley pointed out, how can you certify when not all the numbers are in there? And we've seen this with a number of states as well. But the good news is our double registered, double voter information will be starting to be sent out the first week of June. We're finishing putting in our NCOA and our other information on all the 50 states. It's a lot of data that we're working with here. And one of the first ones that we are going to send is, Steve, you requested Colorado for Tina Peters. So we are offering that information for the double registered, double voters on every state, anybody that wants it. But that's what we're working on right now. So I wanted to thank both of you, Raj and Steve, for giving me the opportunity to speak. I've had before me two of the best speakers that you can imagine having on the election integrity program. And of course, Marley, she does the election validity and she's incredible. And Greg, so are you. So thank you so much for having me on.
Linda, tell them about your new show and where they can go.
Oh, that's right. I have a new program called Sinkowitz. It's spelled phonetically. And it's on OBBM Network. It's a TV network that you can subscribe to for free. And Susan also had put up there the Tina Peters information as well in the video. So check it out. It's OBBM.net TV, I believe, but Oh Bob Mary. And it is fantastic. I'm on weekly. Steve was on my show last week. I have been doing a half-hour program, but starting the first week of June, I am going to be on an hour every week going forward. And my guest on that first hour one is going to be Fani, who just testified in Michigan. I mean, he did a phenomenal job yesterday in his testifying. So thank you, Steve, for reminding me that I should.
Sure. Well, OBBM Network, if you put that back up, Raj, I don't know if you can hit it, but there's a Tina Peters page on there. And we did a lot of videos. A lot of the people that are on this today did videos for her. And we put that up. Let me see if it's still up there. Go to OBBM TV down below, see if it's still up there. If not, we'll send up. They are streaming ours today, along with many, many other people. I want to thank my good friend Dan Schmerliglio from the Voice of the People. He gets the most amount of people. The War Room. That's how we started. If it wasn't for Steve Bannon and Maureen Bannon and the rest of his crew, we wouldn't be live on all these programs, because about 9 months ago, he before I knew this, put us live. And then we got Cloud Hub, Lindell TV. We opened up our Stern American. If everybody will go and join me on X at Stern American, a lot of information is going to come up there. So we have Rumble. We actually ran out of room on Rumble today. We have so many people on Rumble, we can't even open up another station. So it is going to probably 8 million people today. We'll know more tomorrow. So we are being broadcast all over the world, thanks to our good friend Dan Meriglio, who gets it into 89 different countries through his radio channels, and many, many other podcasters, which we'll let you know about going forward. So thank you very much. And now we have a very good person coming on, Marty Waldman, who actually is on a train. I'm not sure if he got off the train in Texas, and he was with Tina Peters over the weekend. Can you find him?
Go ahead, Marty, you're up.
Yeah, I'm in a very noisy place and a very famous place. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes, I
Everything's
can
good.
see you and hear you.
Okay, so I'm not too important to look at. Where I am is more important. I'm here at famous Dealey Plaza. I'm up on the other grassy knoll across. That's where everything happened. I'm on the, I don't know if y'all knew, there's two grassy knolls here. There's the one across the street that isn't famous. So the purpose of me being here, I wanted to put across a perspective about what the situation with Tina is all about, really, and what the situation with JFK was about. At the fundamental level, it was about stealing, or I guess you could say assassinating, the will of the people. JFK was elected. People liked him, the way a lot of people like President Trump. And there are people who didn't like him with a lot of power, pulled off a very covert action. So it's the same thing with Tina. But let's get into some corollaries here about what went on and how Tina relates to this. I'm going to see if I can get a little better view. So you're still hearing me okay?
Yes.
Okay, because I got trains going by, I have cars going by. There's some of the weed whacker train horn. Anyway, so let's think about Tina, the role that she played. She's villainized by the people who don't know what she's about. But what she really was at the core level of it, she was like Abraham Zapruder with his camera. All he did was stand there and document what happened. And then, of course, they withheld his video for a long time. I guess you could say film. They didn't have video back then, kind of portable. They kept that suppressed for like 12 years until it finally got released. There's been a lot of witnesses that said things like the motorcade actually stopped where he was shot. And the film doesn't show that. And from a lot of analysis by some people who know what's going on, the film, it was doctored to make it look like the limo didn't stop. So anyway, you have the cover up. But Tina is the person with the camera. Basically, that's all she is. What did they turn her into? They turned her into that guy up there. They turned her into Lee Harvey Oswald, the bad person who killed JFK, because they didn't want you to know about the guy behind the picket fence, whatever, the people who did it. So by vilifying her, so Oswald, as you all know, they did away with him really quick. They kind of did away with Tina really quick, but over a long, torturous period of a few years. And that culminated with her October 3rd go to jail situation was the equivalent of the day Oswald was shot. Basically, he was silenced, Tina was silenced on that day. But kind of not really. And the same with Oswald. He wasn't silenced either, because like here I am, like 60-something years later. I was like, I don't know, 8 years old or something. I remember it. The story goes on when people know that things aren't right. And with Tina, anyone with half a brain knows things are not right. With that whole thing, we have evidence, as Mike Lindell says, from here to the moon and back. But like nobody looks at that. They just the little phrase election denier. And that's the same thing. I guess the phrase election denier is like what they came up with for JFK. Phrase conspiracy theorist. So conspiracy theorist and election denier. But main point I want to put out is that stealing elections is no different than blowing JFK's head off right here. It's the same thing because at its fundamental nature, it's stealing the will of the people in America is what they did. And his was instant. You know, think about it. Maybe if they had machines back then and they could doctor them the way the elections are doctored now, maybe they would have waited a few months for his election, and then the 64 election, they just would have stole it like they did for President Trump in 2020. But since they couldn't cheat on that kind of level, they had to cheat with a few bullets to the head. So, but now, you know, their new tool for stealing countries is to steal elections. And that's what we're up against here. We're up against the same people that pulled this off, that came up with a myth about the school book depository. Picket fence is just behind me, been there many times. It's very easy to see where the real bad headshot came. So, and it's also very easy to see for us who know and understand what happened to Tina. It's bizarre when they go accusing her, like the judge in his tirade. I was in the courtroom. I thought I was like, it was a dream or something. It's like, is he really saying this stuff? And it's all recorded. So I guess he really did say it. So anyway, I don't know, I'll probably think of some other things I wish I would have said, but right now I just wanted to make this corollary that the assassination of JFK is really no different than the silencing of Tina Peters, because she exposed the new assassinate the will of the people methods that they used. So anyway, I did get to visit Tina. She's alive and well. I was there last Saturday. She's been through so much. But yeah, Marcy mentioned what she said. She said the same thing to me, that this is a lot better, but still it's prison. And when she's in prison, we're all in prison, because America's not going to heal until she's out. And the same thing with all this stuff. You know, the JFK records were released. I guarantee the myth is going to stay out there for 100 years still. Lee Harvey Oswald, whoever he is up there, killed JFK. So we're all election deniers in their eyes. I don't know what's going to change that. Maybe something big will change that. But just wanted to draw that corollary today. You know, it's hard to ask questions or anything, but I don't know if I haven't been able to look at the chat while I'm doing this. But if anyone has anything they want to ask or wonder about, be happy to answer it. I don't even know how much time do I have left, Steve. Am I about out of time, or?
You have a few minutes.
Okay. Are there any questions in the chat or whatever?
Not that we can see, but tell us a little about her conditions there. You were there over the weekend. What did she say? Is she, you know, she's appreciative of all the people out here that are calling, et cetera, et cetera.
First thing I said when I sat down there, I said, it's not me here. It's me and like 1,000 or whatever, you know, many, many other people are actually here along with me. And she knows that, she appreciates that. And we're living in historic times. She is the equivalent of this whole situation here at Dealey Plaza, what she's going through. She's very aware of the context of history. I've talked about that with her before. She knows what she did. She even said this once to me. She said something like, as I was doing what I was doing, I knew I had to do it because there was something very important about it, but I didn't know what that was. So that's what guided her on. And I guess, you know, that kind of, that's what we're all doing here. We all have our strengths. It's like, I don't know why I do what I do. It's just, I kind of, every day I ask, like, what do I need to do today for the cause to help save America? And it just so happened my deal is working with Tina and the other great people in our election integrity group, because it is the equivalent of this. They stole the election in 1964 by, wherever my hand is, shooting them. There's an X in the street too. There's a couple of X's where the shots were, so it's well documented. You can probably see people behind me. But this is what we're talking about. It's not just Tina. It's not just election. We are talking about the assassination of the will of we the people is the bottom line. This is a we the people country. That's what President Trump said in his speech in 2016. He says, I'm returning the will, control of America to we the people. It's a we the people country. So people who don't get engaged in this, they're we the people, but not really. They're not engaged. So I encourage everybody, if you're on here, you're probably already asking why you need to be engaged. But this is about saving America. Same thing. And they want to put a bullet in the head of America, so to speak, the way they did with this guy out here a lot, 62 years ago. And because it just didn't seem right, the explanation didn't seem right. It's the same thing that doesn't let us sleep. It's like something is just not right about this Tina thing. We know what it is, but we just got to keep getting the message out there that it just isn't right. You know, the elections, the will of the people is not being reflected by our elections, but by the C-elections, their will is being reflected. So anyway, I still have any timers about it, Steve.
Yep. Thank you very much. We appreciate you doing this and taking the time out. I know you're a busy guy and you've been all over the country. Every time I talk to you, you're somewhere else. So thank you very much.
This is real important for today. I really wanted to tie this together. And it's not just Tina and elections. This is assassinating the will of the people in America. So,
You got it.
all right. Thank
Raj, you got some announcements before we get to Dr. Frank?
So again, next call Steve Stern and I are having will be on Flag Day. Will be on Flag Day. And thank you, Marty. Thank you for your announcement there and your information. So
Great,
we'll
thank you.
be on Flag Day. That is going to be June 14th. June 14th, super duper day. It's going to be jam packed. Can't wait to share the details with you. So please spread the word out to people in your life to attend that call. It's going to be spectacular. And we have two events. We've got Flag Day starting at noon o'clock on June 14th Eastern Time. And at 10 o'clock, the Reclaim campaign kicks off. So start a Reclaim campaign, go right into the Flag Day celebration. Incidentally, on June 14th, that is also Trump's birthday, as you heard. And I hear that he's going to plant 2 massive flagpoles. Has he got permission from the HOA? Because he's probably going to violate HOA. Something tells me he doesn't care, and he's going to do it anyway. So it's going to be a fantastic day. Again, please get your garments from theflagshirt.com. Get your garments from theflagshirt.com. Why? Because every purchase you make will help keep this entire operation running. And Father's Day is coming up. We want you to please get a garment from the Flag Day, theflagshirt.com. And for the ladies, we want to see more of the ladies wearing these fantastic garments on the show. So far, the guys are leading, but I know, ladies, once you get into it, you'll take over. So with that said, we are now about to go to Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank, you're up. Go ahead.
There we go. I'm unmuted. Thank you, guys.
And we're working on a bow tie from the flag shirt. We're working on a bow tie from the flag
We actually have a tie. We have a big tie, and there was a guy wearing it in Michigan at a hearing for election integrity in Michigan. And everybody, after he went out, everybody asked him where to get it. We sold about 100 ties. So
Wow.
that's great.
Well, we physicists, we wear bow ties because if you wear long ties, they get in the beakers. So that's why scientists wear bow ties. And you know, I'm telling you the truth. That's why we do that. But anyway, you know, I'm so glad to hear Tina Peters' voice today. You know, what a doll she is, and you know, she knows I love her, and we have had a great deal of time together, she and I. And the worst thing that's happened to me is I was debanked and they took my cell phone. You know, they took my cell phone the day after they took Mr. Lindell's cell phone. And it's interesting that I still haven't gotten it back, which I find interesting. I wonder if I have cause for damages, but I sort of feel trivial even thinking about it, considering the damages that Tina has had to experience because of this. But it just makes me want to quote scripture, Romans 8, all things work together for God, good for those who are love God and are called according to his purpose. So I think that, the sacrifice that Tina's undergoing now, God can work that together for good. One of the earlier people commenting mentioned that everywhere Tina goes, she makes friends. She impresses people. She's leading people to Christ. Reminds me of Paul and Silas in prison, right? They went town to town, and as a result of their work, they were able to spread the gospel. So my heart certainly goes out to Tina. I'm still carrying around this $40 somebody gave me to give to her. I wrote her name on it, and I carry it in my wallet every day to remind me to pray for her. And I'm looking forward to the day that I can put those $40 in her hand and give her a kiss on the cheek. So I could have just donated it, but I'm looking forward to put it in her hand in person. So anyway, I was asking Steve what he'd like me to talk about today. And I think it's important that people need to understand that this movement is I like to quote Tony Shoup in Pennsylvania. She says, we're all in the same book, but some of us are in later chapters and some of us are stuck in the early chapters. And I just want to remind everybody that in 2021, when I first met with Tina, I didn't just meet with Tina. I met with hundreds of clerks around the country, and she's not the only person we got forensic backups from. And she's not the only person we did penetration testing with, but they tried to make an example out of Tina, of course, to scare all the other clerks. That point's already been made, but she didn't do anything illegal. In fact, compared to some of the things we've done in other places in the country, it's nothing. Lake County, I always like to bring up, in Lake County, Ohio, we penetration tested during their election and mapped out the whole network and showed that we could hack the entire election during the election. We gave that evidence to the Secretary of State, Frank LaRose, in Ohio, and he made a public statement. He says, "Oh, everybody, there was a there's a security breach in Lake County, Ohio, but don't worry, everybody, there was no fraud." Well, we weren't doing it to prove fraud. We did it at the request of the county officials to show that their Dominion machines were hackable and not secure during the elections. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that in 2021, around the country, most of us were thinking all we had to do was gather this evidence, find this proof, show that the machines and elections are not secure, and then meet with our county and state officials. And I'm telling you, we've already done that. I've met with dozens, literally dozens of secretaries of states, dozens of AGs, hacking into their elections right in front of their faces. People who think that all they need is evidence and present it to their leaders, you're confused. We already have learned that lesson. We learned that lesson in 2021. We don't win that way. The other lesson that I think people are just still not learning is we're not going to win in the courts. If there's any evidence of that, it's the Tina Peters situation. You're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, I'm not saying that lawsuits are bad. Lawsuits are good in the sense that they educate the public. But if you're expecting a remedy from them, that's not going to be where we win. Where we win is when we take back local control of our elections, and you don't need the courts to do that. That's what I do, going around the country teaching people how to take back local control of their elections. So anyway, I'm not against the lawsuits, but beautiful example of this, for example, is in Georgia with Professor Halderman. He hacked into the Dominion machines right in front of the judge in court. Now that's a good situation for us because nationally, now everybody knows they're hackable. I mean, we have the evidence in court. Did it change one iota of elections in Georgia? No. So the lawsuits, if you're expecting the lawsuits to give us a remedy, that's an illogical way of thinking. But lawsuits are good for education, and that's about it. For remedies, the remedy is we the people. The remedy is executive action by officials. For example, Trump could take Tina Peters under a whistleblower statute and take her and rescue her. If you're waiting for the Colorado courts to pardon her, or you're waiting for the governor to pardon her, nothing's going to happen there. I'm not saying that the pressure isn't good, but the pressure isn't how we get the remedy. The remedy is going to be by another strategy. The pressure increases our ability. So anyway, you need to think about those things. I mean, the worst thing that's happened to me is I've been debanked and they took away my phone, and poor Tina Peters is rotting away in prison. So I don't want to use a legal strategy. I spoke to her attorney because I spoke at her sentencing. I testified at her sentencing. Her attorney said the appeal process is 2 to 3 years. So a minimum. So if you're waiting for a legal solution for her, she's rotting away in prison. That's not a good solution. We need a short-term, immediate solution. That is, I think, the best hope for that is from Trump, and he's absolutely aware of her situation. I know for a fact, which is why he's been pressuring the Department of Justice. And thanks, Steve, for reading that at the beginning of Trump's comment from Twitter. That's exactly. We know he knows. He's putting the heat on. Department of Justice is going to be taking action. We'll hold tight. Things are going to happen, but we're not going to get Tina Peters out by the court system, is my point. And so, but I make that as an analogy. We're not going to fix our elections, but through the court systems either. And we're not going to fix our elections through the Congress, and we're not going to fix our elections through the legislatures. You're not even going to fix your elections by your own county officials. The way to fix our elections is to take back local control of them. And the way you take back local control is all you have to do is have actual evidence of real fraud in your county. And that justifies your action as a community to say, every case of real fraud, and we've documented them, shows that our rights are being disenfranchised from us. Our constitutional rights are being disenfranchised. And we, as a community, do not have to comply with any law or policy which compromises our constitutional rights. I always make the analogy. If the governor says, oh, we're going to come around your community and collect your guns, what do you say? Which end do you want first? Why can you say that? Because you don't have to comply with any law or policy which compromises your constitutional rights. So it's the same way with our ballots. When they come to town and say, give us their guns, we say, no way, which end do you want first? But when they come to town and say, give us your ballots, we turn them over without a fight. Why are we doing that? Because we, the people, have become apathetic and complacent, and we're letting other people teach our children. We're letting other people run our government. We're letting other people run our elections. Stalin said it doesn't matter who casts the votes. What matters is who counts the votes. If you're not counting the votes, your voice is not mattering. And if you can prove in your own community that your constitutional rights are being violated because somebody is stealing your name and voting using your name, or somebody's casting fraudulent ballots, those are disenfranchising you from your constitutional rights. So now the question is, you have to build a sufficient knowledge in your own local community so that people know that their rights are being stolen from them, which is, I've got beautiful examples of this, Shasta County. The people know. I could get them on the phone right now. In fact, I'm going to be in Shasta again next week. In Northern California, if I called them on my phone right now and said, hey, I'm going to be testifying to the county commissioners tomorrow, there'd be 100 people standing in that supervisor room. And that's a small county, only 75,000 people. My point is, if you're not waking up your people, if you can't get your people to turn out like that, you're losing. The solution is wake your local people up, get them to re-engage. One of the most important strategies I've seen that actually works around the country, they call me the Johnny Appleseed of election integrity because I've given over 700 public presentations around the country and easily over 1,000 when you include all the private meetings. In fact, I'm going to a private meeting immediately after this. Where am I? Southern California, another battlefront, Huntington Beach. I'm working with the county officials here. This is where the battlefront is. The solution is not top down. The solution is bottom up. You have to get your local citizens to engage the movement. That's where we win. The power's always been with the people. All right. So one last comment, and then I should probably let you go because I don't think you wanted me to have too much time here. Tina was denied due process. There's no question about it. They played a tape recording of me in her office, and you might remember that in the trial. I was shocked. I didn't even know that tape recording existed, but the lawyers did. So the question to me is, why was I not allowed to testify in that lawsuit? I was actually prohibited from testifying in that lawsuit, although the judge gave me 10 minutes to testify during her sentencing. And the reason, what I was going around for years telling people this is never going to trial, because if it goes to trial, we're going to be able to put all the evidence in there. Well, that just goes to show you what kind of a bad lawyer I am. I'm a physicist, not a lawyer. What happened is during all the pretrial hearings, they ruled out all the exculpatory evidence for Tina. So if there's any way to fix her trial, it's declaring a mistrial because exculpatory evidence was deliberately not allowed in. For example, the prosecution characterized the 11-minute tape recording of me with Tina in incorrect ways. And all they would have had to do is put me in the witness stand and cross-examine me, and I could have corrected them. For example, at the beginning of the recording, I wasn't even talking to Tina. I was talking to Belinda, her assistant. And yet in the trial, they made it sound like I was speaking to Tina. But anyway, the point is there are lots of issues to deny me the ability to counter on my own recording is evidence of a mistrial. So yeah, she was denied mistrial. And so anyway, but I don't think you're going to fix Tina's situation in court. You remember when the Department of Justice announced that they're going to do a lawfare investigation into the Tina situation, the Colorado courts objected and said, no, we're going to try to get that dismissed. But it actually was ruled that they're going to get to go forward with that. So there's going to be a lawfare investigation, and that'll be interesting. I don't think Trump is going to need the courts. I think he's going to use other pressure systems. So like cutting off their grants or maybe the whistleblower statutes or something like that. So anyway, I think that's pretty good. And the idea that people that we need to fight on all battlefronts is certainly true. I agree with that. But remember, we're at a war, and we're in a war for the freedom of our country. And so when we're in a war, we don't want to waste ammunition. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing is part of a larger strategy, is part of an effective strategy. We don't want to be shooting our ammunition in the air. I didn't keep track of my time, Steve. How'd I do? Am I about 10 minutes?
You're right on the button. We thank you very much for coming on. I know you're a busy man. I will give you a call over the weekend. We're now going to have Joe Hocht on from Gateway Pundit, his own show. The man is unbelievable at getting articles out. I know you've written some for him. He does a wonderful job. Joe?
Out of here, guys. We'll see y'all. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Steve, Raj. Wonderful to be here again. Happy to be here. And so happy you're doing this for Tina. It's really, Steve, it's really amazing work that you've been doing over these last, few years for this country. So way to go. Tina Peters is a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. And we've got to get her out of this incredibly unjust situation that she's in right now. It's just shocking. Last time I was on here, I was thinking about it, Steve, as I was talking. I shared the story about how I wrote this piece that I had received through a woman who's done some writing out of Colorado. She shared it with me, and we put it up at joehocht.com and Gateway Pundit. And it was a story of Tina saying, hey, if something happens to me, I'm not suicidal. And they were really messing with her in these jails where she was at. And it was a really terrible situation. Anyways, a couple of weeks later, I got an email from a lady who said that she said, hey, I was really moved by that piece that you put up. And she shared the date and the link to the piece and said, is there any way you could get this to President Trump? And she continued, I'm her mother and I'm 95 years old. And please, get this to President Trump. So that really rocked me. And as I shared it on this, on one of your last episodes, I saw this lady's face and her jaw just dropped when I shared that story about Tina's mom, still alive, watching her beautiful daughter, who's a good American with just a beautiful woman and a fighter, being thrown in prison unjustly for doing what was right. We got to get her out, while her mom's still alive. So this is really, there's an immediacy to this. We've got to get this done. There's so much here that we could talk about. And lots going on. And I know there's been presenters before me, probably shared some of this, but one piece that I noticed here a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even a week ago, within the last week, was that Mason County, Colorado came out and said, hey, we're arresting a couple women because we've got 20 ballots that they might have impacted in the recent election in Colorado, in Mason County, the same county that Tina Peters is from. And to me, it's just it was a massive gaslighting slap in the face to all of us. Because we saw Tina Peters uncover 20-some thousand files that were missing. And that's no big deal, but 20 ballots that was going to be a big deal. And really just gaslight, just a slap in all of our faces. This is how they treat us. This is what they think about us. And that really pretty much infuriated me. Whenever I see these small amounts, I'm just infuriated because that's what we call a limited hangout. It's saying that there's a problem, but saying the 1/1000th of the problem, if even that, and suggesting that the problem is not as big as it really is, because this problem is really, really big. This is our country. The election process is number one thing we need to be working on because it impacts everything. We're not going to change anything if we don't win elections. And American people, I believe, are 70-30 or 80-20 even for President Trump. And so we saw it on election night. We see it in all these polls that are taken since the 2020 election, where you could see there was, like Rasmussen, 65% of Americans a year after January 6th said, no, that was all a setup. They weren't getting that from the media. The media is pumping misinformation, disinformation, and lies every day, saying that, oh man, these people there on January 6th were such villains and vile people, etc. Yeah, somebody's texting here saying it's 90-10 by now. They're right. I think the American people are sold on America. They love America. There's this 10% that's just lost and will read and listen to anything the mainstream media is telling them. And it's just not accurate. So we're on the right side. We're on the side of truth. But it doesn't matter if we can't win our elections. So like everybody's said before me, I'm sure, and they'll say after me, elections are most important. We've got to address our judiciary. We've got to address our Justice Department. Big, huge issues there that still need to be addressed. We're all waiting for arrests and all that. And we got to figure out a way to get rid of these radical individuals that are considered judges, the Biden and Obama judges around the country. And we've got to address that. These are major league issues, major issues. And Trump's attacking and just doing such an incredible job, way ahead of everybody in a lot of areas, economically, et cetera. We're seeing the numbers on everything just looking great. Inflation's low, jobs are up, salaries are up. This is exactly what they want. They want to cut this debt and get rid of this government waste. They're doing everything great, but we can't do that if they steal another election. And that's what they're going to do, because this is what communists do. We're facing fascist communists, and I'm just preaching to the choir here, but this is the deal. This is really, really serious. And I'm so glad everybody realizes it, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't know that. This is a serious situation in America and in the world, and we can make this a great world. Elon Musk yesterday in Saudi Arabia gave this vision of in an 8-minute talk in an interview that was just amazing about what we can have. That looking at in the future could be a lot of prosperity for everybody, and a lot of great things that are going to happen. He's already got these taxis that are self-driving and all sorts of stuff. And, we're going to be going to Mars and stuff like that, but we can't do it with stolen elections. These people are evil. They want to just destroy, I think, ultimately humankind. So anyways, there's a couple stories here. That one from Mesa County kind of upset me. We all know President Trump stepped in and said free tea, which was in regards to Tina within the last week, I believe. That's great. Peter Tickton filed a brief in Tina's case, and that was great. Big, lots of work into that. Peter Tickton's an attorney and friend of President Trump's. We've got so much going on. I noted also since our last event, or maybe before it, there was an event by the League of Women Voters in Colorado, and they gave these corrupt attorneys that were behind Tina Peters' arrest and indictment and sentencing, conviction sentencing awards in that state. So it's pretty grotesque what they've done in taking over these great organizations and then giving awards to themselves for corrupt and criminal acts. It's just gross. So we've got to stop this. In that sense, it's up to us. It really is. What can we do? I really think, as I look back at my days in corporate, where I spent years in corporate America and actually corporate overseas, and having traveled extensively around the world. And I think that what we need to do is, and I'm starting to really kind of put a name to it, we've got to get controls in place. And I think we can do that. And I think we need to do that, because when we studied this election process, this group that I put together, Fate 2024, a year or two ago even, we estimated that maybe only 1/3 of all controls are in place that should be in place in the election process. And in the corporate world, every single control has to be in place for a multinational corporation. It could be 1,000 key controls in order to sign off on the financials. So it's not just having the actual counts, but it's these processes that need to be defined. I'm actually going to start pushing for an effort to get President Trump to somehow add an executive order that would mandate that our election process has to be handled according to Sarbanes-Oxley, like our corporations have to. That means every single process has to be tested, every process, all the key controls have to be designed, put in place, and tested long before the election ever occurs, so that and people will sign off on this that will say these processes are in place, that there's no way that fraud could ever occur. That's what we have to do in the corporate world. And then we count the numbers, and we have support for every single document. It's all part of Sarbanes-Oxley, the corporate world. Our elections are a mess. They're not even close, not even close. So I think that's really key. I know there's a lot of great speakers here today, Steve, but there is work to do. But I think just being here, gaining information, standing up, and knowing this is the most important time maybe in our history. We've got about a year. Either we're gonna get our elections put in place, or we are not. And if we don't, it could be the end of America, and really end of civilization, as Elon Musk would say about George Soros, how he's just anti-civilization. That's what we're up against. Really satanic forces. This is a spiritual battle. We've got to keep our prayers going as well, and pray for the people that are making this this effort to save America. And by the way, Steve, I'll be coming out with some big news here in the next couple of weeks about a big event we're going to be putting on in Vegas here shortly. So
Great.
I'll share that with you too.
We just got some word from one of her attorneys that something big may happen this week. So next week, our hope. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, Terry Raposa from Shasta County, California. Come on down, Terry. I know you had some problem with your camera, so not sure where you're at.
Hi, Terry.
Am I unmuted? Am I unmuted now, Steve?
Yes, we can hear
Great.
you.
Okay. Well, I want to clear up a couple of things first when it comes to fact. First of all, Shasta County has 180,000 people, not 70. And there are a lot of hardworking people here in Shasta County, a lot of them, and I could name a lot of them off, just everyday folks that are really handling the heavy lifting here. We appreciate the help we get from Dr. Frank, but it really is the people of the county. I think the thing we have to start realizing too is our verbiage and what we're talking about. We've got an elephant in the room. We keep saying this is unconstitutional, that's unconstitutional. It's against our constitutional rights. We don't have constitutional rights. We have God-given rights. They're protected by the Constitution. And the understanding that right now we're looking at an inverted hierarchy with our government, just like the last speaker just was saying, that the president can have an executive order to do certain things as far as the election process. According to the Constitution of the United States, the election process is done by the states with their jurisdiction. Congress can change it, but not the president or a governor. So the point is we have to understand jurisdiction, interposition, and nullification. Who has jurisdiction over what? The people who have the jurisdiction over these particular things can stand between, can intercede, and then they can nullify. The state, each state here that is on this call has their own state government. When we first became a country, Thomas Jefferson made the point that the state of Virginia is likened to the state of Spain, France, and Great Britain, which means the word state is synonymous with sovereign government. So what we did is all these sovereign governments got together. We had to do something. We were shooting each other. We all had different money. We were following our own rules in each state. What if Great Britain attacked again? What if Spain attacked? What if France attacked? So we created the federal government. What we have to understand is we the people, but what does that mean? And we have to start acting like it. The understanding of the fact that the states created the federal government makes them the creator. We have an inverted hierarchy now. We think the president has plenary power. And for people like Joe Biden, that means absolute. Point being is this power that we have is a power that we have to control the government. We do have to take it back county by county. We do have to take it back in every single method that's possible to us, but we have to understand who we are. So we got together as the several states. We created the Constitution. We created the federal government. We're the creator. The creator isn't someone who has to obey the creation. When we wrote the 10th Amendment, the founders wrote the 10th Amendment, and when they wrote it, Madison was thinking, well, people know this already. The 10th Amendment, paraphrase, simply states that anything not delegated to the federal government is reserved to the states or the people, not the states and the people. Simply put, that means that the states have the power and the people have the power to dictate to the federal government what to do, not the other way around. An executive order on certain things can be fine for a while, but the next president can change that. Or it can be found in court that that executive order isn't even legal because there's no jurisdiction to intercede or nullify. Now, point being, as we look at the government and the 10th Amendment, anything not delegated, you can't delegate as a lower power. You can only delegate as a higher power. That's giving temporary responsibility of something you own. And the word reserved to the states or people, the word reserved means that we own it. We have to start acting like it. I read a lot of things this last week about what's going on with immigration, and it's great that we now we're rattling the cages of California with this illegal immigration, because we gave, as the states and as the people, in Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, the power of immigration, of naturalization to the federal government. They have jurisdiction, not the states. A sanctuary state is illegal. A sanctuary city is illegal. A sanctuary county is illegal. And not only that, but it's a violation of law. The United States Code, Title 8, Code Section 1324, specifically states that harboring and shielding an illegal alien is a crime. Why aren't we prosecuting the governor of California, the legislative body of California? Because they don't have jurisdiction, according to the Constitution, over immigration. We gave that to the federal government. And they also don't have a position of saying, hey, we're going to override the federal government, because in Article 3, Section 1 of the California Constitution, it states that the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and California is an inseparable part of that, which means anything in the Constitution that is in conflict with the state constitution trumps, no pun intended, the state constitution. The idea of us being we the people is we have to start acting like it. You know, we will not, we shall not comply. Hey, I may not comply with the seatbelt law. I may not put my seatbelt on, but I don't submit to tyranny. And that's what we're doing. County by county, state by state, we need to take it back. But understand, each state has individual situations that they're going to have in the voting process. They're going to have different things that go on. They're going to have different laws. Some of the laws I could read you that we have as school laws in California would turn your stomach. But they're laws, not mandates, not suggestions. So what we have to do is, number one, we have to know we have the jurisdiction in our counties. We have to know that we are in power, that this government serves us. We do not serve it. The government wasn't waiting for us to come along for us to serve it. We created it. Creator always has jurisdiction over the creation. There's a lot of things we should be doing, and I hope we do. I do hope that the president does have the Attorney General use Article 8, Section 1324 of the United States Code to prosecute governors and legislators in the several states that are engaged in sanctuary states, cities, and counties. And I pray that we start understanding that we are the people. That's who we are. God creates man, man creates society, man and society with God's blessing and guidance create government. The minute we start believing who we are again, that's where we're going to win. So, Steve, there's a lot of things that, first of all, I like your shirt. I have one of those too. I've got every one of your shirts.
Well, we thank you very much. We're running a little late today, but thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on. We'll get you on again. Any last minute words, how people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can reach me at Terry Rapoza, TerryRapoz, as in zebra A, at hotmail.com. We do a radio program once a week. It's archived. I can put that information on the chat room, and I'll get that information, and Steve has that information. But remember, we have to stand together. We can't be 185 different groups doing something different. We have to start standing as we the people and act like it.
Thank you very much. Next up is a person, Ann Schultz, who, that's how I got involved. Today we have Ann Parchett from Illinois. Is Ann on there?
Yes, go ahead, Ann. Just go ahead and unmute, Ann, and you're up. Annette, Parchett, just go ahead and unmute.
Unmute, I'm sorry.
There we go. Great. We can see you and hear you. Fantastic. Go ahead.
Great. Well, hi, Steve, and especially my mentor, Dan Schultz. I'm going to be presenting to you the precinct strategy with a twist. I'm Annie Parchett, and I'm the chairman of the Illinois Freedom Alliance. And using the precinct strategy, we replaced the entire board at the Rock Island County GOP in Illinois, and I am now the chairman. And I began as a precinct committeeman, and today I lead a statewide movement led by the Illinois Freedom Alliance to restore the grassroots power in Illinois through an initiative that we're calling Operation Precinct Power, or OPP. It's not a theory, it's a tested tactical model that we've been slowly building across Illinois to rebuild the Republican Party from the bottom up. We've actually swapped out leadership in multiple counties, maybe 10 or 12, and we actually now have grassroots leaders, 3 of them on our state board of our state Illinois GOP Central Committee. So in Illinois, what we learned is that there are over 10,000 precinct committeeman positions. Over 5,000 are empty. We believe that the state GOP was practicing the precinct vacancy strategy because it helps them maintain the most control. And so there's 5,000 communities in Illinois with no Republican voice, no voter contact, no voter registration drives, no local leadership. So OPP was born to solve this, to identify the vacancies and fill them with committed grassroots leaders and equip the leaders with the tools they need to win elections, to shape policy and rebuild the party structure from within. So what is OPP? It's an initiative of the Illinois Freedom Alliance to recruit, identify, and onboard principled conservatives as PCs. We're training them with our, we have a strong program in the Illinois Freedom Alliance. We train every week, but we just started a 501c3 because our funders were getting tired and needed the tax deduction. And so now that program's moved over to Illinois Grassroots Alliance. However, it's just going to be stronger because in the last few weeks that this has been standing up, we've raised almost $60,000. So we're going to be, this isn't a loose network, it's a full ecosystem. We have structure, accountability, technology, and we do everything based on results. So through IFA, we've developed a integrated model. We use a CRM to track every PC, their weighted votes, and progress. So the county headquarters, it can be a grassroots group or it can be a GOP, but they are now in a competition that starts June 1st and runs through the end of the summer. And they're going to be able to, we're going to give scores for volunteer engagement and visibility. We have the weekly training calls, and we're doing it on several platforms, Zoom, Facebook Live, X Spaces, so that we reach different audiences. And we also publish a magazine called Grassroots Quarterly, and the summer edition is actually going to be a PC manual with instructions in it to advise people on how to set up like booths and build election cycle calendars, some leadership development plans, and party processes. But we don't just train activists, we teach grassroots leaders how to make their way into the GOP. And one of the most important goals is to transfer the loose, scattered groups of volunteers that we have in every county into a structured, coordinated team. So every county in Illinois already has passionate people, and people that want to make a difference, but the passion without structure, it like creates burnouts and confusions and wasted potential. So we bring these individuals into a clear, organized model. Their roles are defined, expectations are documented, progress is tracked, and we collaborate to replace chaos. And this structure operates under the OPP framework, work using the same tools, trainings, and accountability model across the whole state. In Illinois, we strongly encourage the grassroots groups to do what Illinois Freedom Alliance did. When the Rock Island County GOP, we tried to volunteer there, and we tried to beef up the volunteer work there. And of course, that would require some changes. And when we tried that, they told us, if you're so smart, go do it yourself. So we went down the street, this was 4 years ago, and we took the copy of the bylaws for the GOP. We built Illinois Freedom Alliance using the same bylaws and rules. We organized the same way, because the goal isn't to stay outside the system. We want to prepare volunteers to move inside it. So by understanding bylaws, rules of order, and leadership processes, we teach volunteers how the party really works, so they're ready to step in as PCs and committee leaders and beyond. So the OPP teams, we have volunteers in all 102 counties in Illinois. And so now we're pulling them together on these teams. And the first thing that we're doing as part of Operation Precinct Power is a mission to register voters. It's a statewide contest between the 17 congressional districts. And we want to use this time that a lot of the Republican counterparts call dead time. We don't really have much to do right now. We have to wait till fall. Well, we're using this time to kind of close the gap between the number of Democrat registrants and the number of Republican registrants. And just in my county alone, over the last 4 or 5 years using this process, we've gone from a deficit of 40,000 to just 6,700. So we hope this summer we're going to close that gap completely. This program is data backed, it's volunteer driven, and results oriented. This is as we prepare to scale up OPP across the country. There's one thing that's essential, and that's to know your party structure. So we want everybody in every county and every state to get copies of their state or their GOP bylaws and study them and learn how the state statutes governing your party structure. If your team needs help with interpreting these rules, we're here to assist. But because of the strength of your OPP initiative is going to depend on being strategically sound and legally compliant, and we know we can all do that. So the reason we chose the voter registration drive is because it's going out and telling people that they need to become a precinct committeeman is one thing, but I've recruited people in that way, and then I then they don't do anything. So I wanted to do a project together. And the voter registration drive, it teaches people all the skills they need to become a precinct committeeman. They learn tabling, they learn event planning, they learn how to plan or how to get permission to do things. They learn door knocking, they learn all the skills you need. So during this process, the people that will be good PCs are going to pop up just in time for the petition season. And so we're pretty excited about using this method of recruitment. I actually, our strategic steering committee for this program is actually has our state GOP chairman, Kathy Salvi, helping us. Many of the GOP chairmen that initially I thought maybe were ineffective because they on purpose. I've learned that they've been in these roles for years and nobody's ever told them exactly what to do or given them skill sets to do it. I even got a big donation. We have a big parade elephant for our GOP. It's it's huge elephant. He's gorgeous and he gets a lot of attention. And the man that donated that to us donated one to us as a prize for the district that's most improved over the summer. So the metrics, the process behind it is rather complex, but using a CRM system and automated responses and all, I think it's going to be really effective. And the other thing that we're doing is each empty precincts will be marketed to from our area. We don't wait for the GOP chairman or anybody to decide to do a campaign that will fill those positions. We actually are funding some very creative electronic methods to reach out to the targeted demographics we need in those specific precincts. And then we're also giving the precinct committeemen a package, a tool set of digital tools that they can use. So this is why we're raising funds. We make the big buy across the state or from our providers at a reduced price. Our donors are helping us pay for it. And now we can get started right away. And we don't have to wait for a precinct to come up with a little bit of extra money in their budget to maybe do a mailer or something like that. It's just not feasible that we would be so inconsistent across the state. So we're getting our funding and we're working across the whole state. And I put in the chat room, hi, Roger, nice to see you. I put in the chat room how you can reach out to me and my phone number. Our headquarters is what we consider to be a model office for the state. We are even offering to help other people in the state make arrangements we have made with our landlord, but we have a 2,500 square foot office and we're open about 6 days a week and fully staffed, 12 workstations. People schedule themselves ahead of time just so they can get a workstation, and we workload people based on their passions and skills. And so it's a pretty fun place to come every day. And it's very rewarding because we feel like we're making a lot of differences. I think I may have reached my time limit.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming on today. Glad to find out that people are actually working in Illinois. Maybe you'll turn it red. My 3 granddaughters live up there in Chicago, so I'm hoping.
No, maybe, Steve. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I appreciate your time and thank you everybody for all that you're doing.
So Raj, we're waiting. Christine and Sam are trying to get on. If they don't get on, we'll just call it a day. And
okay. So while we're waiting, again, just to recap, friends, we do want you. We are clear and firm on this. We do want you to call the governor. We have seen that this campaign that Steve Stern launched a few weeks ago has escalated what the president is doing. So we do want you to call the governor. Here's his phone number. Here's his email address. We want you to take that step. Many of you have actually already done that, so we thank you for that. So that's one announcement. Next announcement. A lot of you are asking, how do you get the replay of this event? Where's the recording? Very easy. Go to sternamerican.com, and just scroll down till you see the Rumble channel right there. You see Rumble, click that. And then once you click the Rumble channel, you will see all of the videos that have been put on Steve's channel here. And all you have to do is click on live. See where it says live? Hit that live button there. And this is where all of the live calls, this is a live call, are hosted. Check out all the other programs. Steve is interviewed by a bunch of different folks all the time. And so you want to make sure that you take a look at that and check that out as well. Next thing, we got Memorial Day weekend coming up. And we are looking for the ladies to catch up with the men, at least on this show. I know you guys are ahead of us everywhere else, but on this show, we've had more guys with the flag shirts, and we want you women to take over and overtake us. There's just so many fantastic options here for you. Please take advantage of all of this stuff here. It's just excellent quality material, like you heard from the other speakers. So please make sure you take advantage of that. And then lastly, Reclaim Campaign. Please check that out. Reclaimcampaign.com. Reclaimcampaign.com. If you're tired of the pushback, how do we compensate for that? How do we improve our capability, get better candidates, increase our funding, and coalesce together to create more political clout? Take a look at reclaimcampaign.com. And again, the website where you can get all of those fabulous items is very easy. Theflagshirt.com. Theflagshirt.com. Let's go ahead and see if those folks have made it.
So we're going to get Sam Anthony on. You show him on.
Let me check. Stand by. Checking. Sam Anthony. Oh, there he is. Cool. Okay.
All right. Sam Anthony is yournews.com. I have to make a statement that I am an investor in the company. So usually when you put somebody on that's an investor, you got to make sure that everybody knows that. I started with him when he was in the beginning. He's a phenomenal guy. We talk every day. And he will tell you a little bit about what he's doing and how he helps us. Sam, you want to come down?
I'm here. Can you guys see? Oh, yes, I can see me. So I'm assuming everybody can. How are you, Steve? Good to see you. Raj, how you been?
Good, Sam. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, you too. So tell me, how many people are on this?
Could be 8 million people. We are on the War Room. We're on Getter. We're on Cloud Hub. We're on Lindell TV, Stern American, 120 to 140 podcasters, Rumble, everywhere under the sun. So
And
Sam,
me.
how you help us, because you get articles and what you do and what the company can do. And if somebody wants to invest in the company, how do they do that?
And become a citizen journalist. So first of all, thanks for having me on here. I see Dan over there at Precinct Strategy. Good to see you. He's one of the contributors. So we run a platform called Your News. The domain is yournews.com. It's hyper local. So when you log in, notice there's a city name at the top. So we operate a local edition in every city in the United States. There's a social component where the public can actually interact and share the narrative locally. And we publish content by subject and geography. So it could be city, county, market, state, regional, or national. So, in this case, he's in Florida. If Governor DeSantis signs a bill into law, well, that's going to go in our politics sections in the state of Florida. But if it's somebody's little league game, it's going to go in the sports section in, let's say, Boca Raton or whatever city it is. So we could drill down to one city. The reason that Steve wanted me on here is because we all know the legacy media is not going to survive. It's not a secret. It has nothing to do with them lying. That just sped up the process. There's always a product that replaces something else, and there's still a demand for news. It's just how people consume it that's changed. So everybody's getting their stuff on podcasts, which is audio and video, but it's all internet driven. So what we do ultimately will replace the legacy media. It'll be a hyper local news platform, most likely global, with a social component where the public can interact and share in the narrative. It'll have a monetization model where content creators can submit their work, share it on social media, and share in the ad revenue in a self-service ad platform where somebody could buy an ad and target it to one zip code and everywhere and anywhere nationwide. However, here's what my thoughts are. Just like YouTube has a technology, or Rumble, where anybody can be a podcaster and you could be a broadcaster and do, whether it's a cooking show or it's a political show, it doesn't really matter, a home and garden show. we provide technology where everybody can be a journalist. We call them citizen journalists. And so if you, and I don't know, Raj, if you want to show them at the bottom of the page of any page, it'll say become a citizen journalist. If any of you, if you go to the city council meetings or the high school football games or the school board meetings, you see at the bottom, it says be a citizen journalist. If you want to be a news reporter, you can actually click that link, go ahead and click it and scroll down. And there's a form and you fill out it. If you just a little bit further, you fill out this application. And then once you get approved, you get email notification with instructions on how to use your dashboard. And guys, you're a news reporter. It's just that simple. And then the cream rises to the top, just like YouTube or any other platform. And then if somebody happens to be interested in making an investment, there's a button at the bottom that says invest, and it explains exactly what we're doing, how it works. You form your own conclusion, but it's not an investment that's funded by, it's not funded by, you know, what am I thinking of? The BlackRocks and the Vanguard. This movement is funded by we the people. So we use something called an equity crowd fund, which means you're buying stock. It's not a, this is not a Give, Send, Go or GoFundMe where it's a donation. You're actually buying stock in the company. And Steve's part of it. Raj, you're not part of it yet, but you will be soon, I'm sure.
There you go.
Anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah, well, there's no questions, but a couple of things you can answer. How does somebody get your app so they have it on their phone all the time?
We use, you can either type in yournews.com into your phone, because we were kicked off of Apple and the Google Play Store because, are you ready for this? The content contradicted Fauci was the exact words. So we have our own app. It's called, when you put it on your phone, it'll say install. You just hit a button that says install, or there's a code. If you look at the bottom of the page, show them again, Raj, at the bottom of the page, there's one of those, I don't know, those promo codes. We'll wait for you to pull it up right there. That code, you just take a picture with your phone, it automatically installs it to your phone. That's it.
And then tell them where to go if they want to see the local videos of podcasters. I know. Yeah, hang on. Yeah. I know that you're on more podcasters than me, which I gotta catch up to you, because every time
I doubt it. But
I tell you that Sam has helped me get a lot of podcasters who are putting this on today. And you know, when we have a message and a voice, you know, like when our people come on and talk, you're talking to the world. I mean, we have 89 countries that are done. And, you know, just like today, when we had this little forum, we got the word out. We're getting feedback from all over the place on Tina Peters, and that's going to help us. So tell them where they go to see the live stream on certain stuff.
Go back to the site, Raj, just so you can see it real quick. Mouse over multimedia, and then go to, well, I'll wait for you to pull it up. At the top of the page, you'll see all the different sections. Multimedia, and scroll down to Your News videos, right down at the bottom, right there. And this is going to show, these are all podcasters. It's all conservative, political. Dan has his stuff up here. You guys are up here. So all of this content is all user generated. There's the thing we're on right now. Okay. So, and this is just stuff that came in after it. We're just FYI, guys, we're an aggregator. Okay. So most of the content we carry is local news somewhere. That's what we do. And if you mouse over local edition, you'll see all the different categories: sports, business, politics, entertainment, classifieds. So everything goes in its to a subject, which could be sports, and then the geography, which could be city, county, market, state, regional, or national.
And anybody put an article in there, am I correct?
Anybody can do it. We've picked up 700 news reporters in the last 5 months, I think.
No, but if somebody has an organization, they want to post something on your news, that's possible, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's a button even at the top of the page that says submit your news. You see the green button? You create an account and you post, and that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Any last words, or do you want to let everybody know how to get a hold of you?
Sam at yournews.com. Anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But other than that, I'm just happy you invited me, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. All right, our last person today is Christine Reagan from San Diego. We finally got her on. It took me a long time to get her. So she's our last patriot to come on, and she could talk about her organization, et cetera, et cetera. Go ahead, Christine.
Great. Nice to see you, Steve, and be with you finally. Good afternoon, all you patriots out there. I'm super pumped about this, your news. I'm going to be going there as soon as I can today. So thank you for getting them on there and sharing. I am Christine Reagan, Director of Grassroots and Communications at actforamerica.org. We are your relentless champion in the battle for America's soul. We're not just a movement, we're a 5 million strong conservative juggernaut spanning 98% of US counties, arming you with hard-hitting truths and lightning-fast tech tools to drive policies from city halls to Capitol Hill. In seconds, you read, act, and win with us. We dominate on social media and lawmakers' inboxes and phones with our Act Now digital platform. So you can join us at actforamerica.org to follow and act on it to fuel this fight to make America great. Just to kind of give you a little background on who we are, what we do, we are your battle tank. So we have 277 million citizen emails, petitions, phone calls, and social media actions that we started back in 2020 with 5 million followers, 1,200 chapters and partnering groups, 250 act and faith groups, and coalitions that span not nationwide, but also in all 50 states partnering with us, those with like-minded views. And we have a verified constituency that makes us different when we're interacting with lawmakers, whether it's at the state or federal level. When we call on them, it's with the reinforcement of real citizens and a flood of emails and so forth. So we're not just a think tank. We consider ourselves a battle tank. We represent we the people and their values that they're expressing through these real direct to lawmaker contacts. To top of the year, we were the Select Senate Committee's action arm. We were the ones battling and fighting all the resistors to get all Trump cabinet nominees elected without the gridlock that we were seeing with maybe a handful, 6, 7 senators consistently that we had to kind of go back to the battlefield and kind of fight for them. But it was our citizen advocates that were doing all that heavy lifting. We just kind of set things up and they run with the ball. And so the executive orders, if you look at our actforamerica.org Act Now profile, you'll see that his executive order is perfectly aligned with our portfolio of campaigns that we've been fighting for 4 years. So it's thrilling to see this happening, but we're at a place right now. So if you go to Act Now at the top there, Raj, scan over right in the middle. Yep, and national. And then let's go to election security because this is the main topic for today. Just to show our portfolio at the top there, you'll see categories. Nope, keep going across. There you go. You see categories and select election security for us. This is something we've been battling. We've successfully passed probably around 120, 150. I'm not sure. It's always a moving target. At the state level, election security bills related to starting with the Zuckerbucks and private funding and getting rid of those drop boxes, help pass voter ID in 4 states before Arizona's local judges kind of caused a chill across the country that is now being reopened to us since Trump. But so we have been fighting. We believe that border and immigration and DOJ is critical pillars for election security, national security, for obvious reasons. We don't want citizenship interference. And we also don't want all this funding going to Democrat one party get out the vote schemes. So there you'll see a number of campaigns. It literally takes you 30 seconds. It takes you less once you create an account with us, an autofill feature that's there. And you count as 1,000 constituents with every click. I know everyone here is on the call is probably familiar with these types of digital campaign tools. We combine it with our email and Substack and social media platform information that takes people 2 to 3 minutes to, consume and spark a fire in them to click and act on the related campaigns that we're writing and talking about that we will be obviously adding to the Your News portfolio as well. So on election integrity and security, we have an unprecedented 80% of Americans right now united on some major issues, 80-20 issues. We're passing in the House key legislation, but we're gridlocked in the Senate. Everyone knows that. So my personal plea right now is that where conservatives traditionally and culturally only make phone calls to people they think care or will listen to them, that we need to be calling every Democrat, and especially exploiting the 13, 14 senators that are coming up for election in 2026. We need to stress this is an 80%, the 80% are calling for you. Do not defy the will of the people. You're going to face, removal in 2026. We will replace you if you don't pass legislation, because we've got some really big bills on there where Raj was featuring. The two newest ones are called the MESA Act and the SAVE Act. MESA Act bans voting machines. We got about 500,000 on that so far in actions, but we need a lot more. I just opened it up to states because I think states have an opportunity to take that same legislation and pass something at the state level and not wait for our gridlock Senate to pass something. We've got to get the needle moving in as many states as possible before the midterm elections, and we're blocked out of making these changes because I'm in California, obviously, and in Washington, I split my time between states. We have defiant governors who are not going to do voter ID, and they're not going to do some of these things, and we're going to have to fight it out in courts. Meanwhile, midterm elections will be confirmed, and the cheating will have commenced, and it'll take 2 years down the road for us to get a ruling to show that they didn't follow election laws that were either passed through Trump's executive orders or through state legislation in other states. So we have voter ID on the chopping block, mail-in voting, early voting, and required voter ID that's legal government ID with the MESA Act. Doe showed that we had 2.4 million illegal votes in 2024. These are non-citizens that have accessed and are confirmed have accessed our elections. And proof of citizenship, literally we have 2 states that have achieved this, Alabama and Ohio. Anybody else that gets a driver's license or a state issued ID, there's not strict requirements to prove citizenship. Texas has kind of moved in that direction, but we're not 100% there. We have loopholes. So we really need to get at the federal level with everyone's help contributing to pressuring the Senate. We do have voter ID in every state. We have over 11.3 million people that acted on that, sent those emails, made those phone calls, 7.7 million calling for a ban on voting machines. So we have a lot of great campaigns that are in there that you can take seconds to click through. In San Diego, we have also a movement called Reclaim San Diego, and we're working across the state to reclaim California and turn California red. It sounds like a crazy, ambitious goal, and it is, but we do have a lot of hope and a lot of positive indicators that people are willing to work together again and not just work in their silos, but to cooperate because our backs are against the wall. So as everyone is talking about reclaiming and reforming, we all have the same heart and mind. ActForAmerica.org is essentially a mobilization hub. We are an organization that embraces all like-minded groups. We cooperate as coalition partners. If you've got an action at a state level that we are not partnering on, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact me directly at Christine, CHRISTINE, at actforamerica.org. Thank you, Stephanie, for that. We're not giving up on California, and I think that the fight is just getting started. And we're also going to be working to route out some rhinos that are kind of controlling purse strings. For those that don't know, California just elected for the California GOP a confirmed Obama campaigner, and at one point a self-described socialist, thought that Obama's campaign made sense and helped him run for both terms. Stephanie, and Orange County. Orange County is one of our most awesome active counties in the state of California. And Orange County, San Diego combined, maybe San Bernardino might actually be the ones to actually save the state. So anyway, thank you for your time. If anyone has any questions, you can let me know, but we just want you to go to actforamerica.org. This is a site for everybody, regardless of what groups, organizations you're running. This is a place where we can all gather up, share messaging, work with Synergy, dominate with social media, get those campaigns out there and get real action with emails and phone calls going direct to lawmakers to help knock loose some bipartisanship right now at the federal level and some key policies, whether it's election integrity, border and immigration, and anything DOJ related to drain the swamp, to clear the way for us in its entirety to make a clean election in 2026.
So what is your website again? Repeat it. I got people asking slowly.
ACT, for, spell it out, FOR, America.org.
So we'd like to have you back on again. We're going to take your clip of your thing and send it out to 100,000 people. I don't know a lot of people know you, but you have a lot of people. So that's the most important thing. Can you do anything to help us with Tina Peters? Can you get your people to make calls to the governor?
We have been doing that. We launched, I think, a month and a half ago, some efforts. Steve, I think we had chatted even about a month ago. I'm losing track of time, but yes, we are behind the scenes working on doing what we can to make sure that we prod this loose. And there's just a lot of calls that could be made to at the federal level to some of our partners on the Hill that can help put some pressure on the governor. So it's like a kind of a multi-pronged strategy, I think, for Tina. We've got to bark up every tree possible, the right trees, but bark up every tree to get some partnership there. And obviously Trump and the administration is putting some pressure on the governor as well. And so sometimes just calling on the White House to act, kind of helps us to leverage some, DOJ support and some other areas where we can get some movement. Senators in the state, there's a lot of different ways that we can skin the cat. Everyone that's in Colorado should be calling on the entire state legislature to force the governor to act. So those are my recommendations, and we are working on that in Colorado and outside, putting some outside pressure.
You have something that people can email you if they want to get a hold of you. I have a lot of people that are asking for your email.
Christine, it's my name spelled out, CHRISTINE at actforamerica.org.
And Christine, this is Raj. If there are any specific committees or senators on the Colorado level or the federal level that would be the key influencers on the Tina Peters situation, if you are able to maybe share that with Steve Stern so we can get that out. We found that when we ask people to call their senator, it's not as effective as calling a specific person, and your organization seems to have a lot of insight in that. So that'll be, we'd be grateful for that.
You got it.
Could you also give us some of your assistant stuff? Because I know you're a busy woman and you can't always answer your phone. And, there's a lot of, well, we all are like that, but there's a lot of stuff. You're an important organization, especially here. And, we've been doing this 2.5 years and we haven't had you on. So if you think of all the people out there who we don't have on, which is because people want to hear, our goal is to get people on and get you more people on your organization and everybody's organization that wants to come on. So we're limited now to time because the War Room has to come on in a little while. So they only allow us 10 to 5. Thank you so much for coming on. We want to close this. Happy Father's Day, happy Flag Day, happy Memorial Day. We'll soon. Raj, you want to give us some last words?
Yeah, absolutely. So guess what? The folks that run OBBM are actually watching the show. Isn't that awesome? And so they've actually put this show right on their homepage. So you're asking about how to access obbmnetwork.tv. Very easy. Just go to obbmnetwork.tv. And when you hit that, this event here is right there on the homepage. Click it, and you can actually see this live event here. So, there you go. So please check that out. Thank you, everyone. Please, again, you got Memorial Day weekend coming up. You got Father's Day coming up. Please have the people in your family looking super duper awesome by getting them a flag shirt, and make sure you call the number we shared earlier for Tina Peters, and Steve is putting on the screen right now. Let me put him on full screen here. Stand by.
The last minute, put the full screen on for her address. Please send her a letter. I sent her a Mother's Day card. We got all these things coming up. It's terrific that she's able to read this and see it. You know, when you get mail and you're in jail, it's terrific because it's time. You've got 8 hours a day where probably you're doing nothing. So you need to read these letters and let people know that we're behind her. Thank you, everybody, for coming on today. Thank you for supporting us. Go to Stern American on Twitter, Stern American on TikTok. We are going live on TikTok continuously. That's where you're going to get new people on. We got a lot of young people on there that were Democrats that we got to change them over to Republican. So we need to use TikTok. Again,
Awesome.
thank you for everybody to come. You want to close it down? Action, action, action.
All right. See you soon. If you're watching this on the live stream, you want to get updates on when these events go live, text word elections. Text word elections to 91776. Text word elections to 91776. Christine is actually going to have the last word today. Go ahead, Christine.
I just ditto. The time to act is now. No better time to get involved. Do not be a spectator. We have less than 2 years to save our country and solidify what's going on at the White House to make it a reality across the country. We cannot count on what's going to happen with animals cornered that are going to be fighting for their lives to take seats by any means possible. So thank you all for your part in making America great.